सर नमस्कार मैडम।
Namaskar and good afternoon. Our guests of honor, Dr. Ashok Dalwai, CEO NRA and Chairman Task Force on Doubling Farmers' Income, Sri Rajiv Ranjan Mishra ji, DG Namami Gange. Ladies and gentlemen, a very warm welcome to the India Seeds Award 2020, which is being presented by the Agriculture Today Group, powered by Prasad Seeds, and institution partners are National Seed Association of India, Federation of Seed Industry of India. And the media partners are Agri News Network, Krish Alert, and Gubba Seed News. Ladies and gentlemen, the Indian seed market ranks fifth in the world today with state-of-the-art breeding, production, marketing, and the infrastructure capabilities. The developments in the seed industry in India, particularly in the last 3 decades, have been very significant. A major restructuring of the seed industry was carried out by the Government of India through the National Seed Project Phase 1 from the year 1977 to 78. Phase 2 from 1978 to 79, and finally the Phase 3 from 1990 to 91, which strengthened the seed infrastructure, and this could undoubtedly be termed as the first turning point in shaping of the current day organized seed industry. While the public sector units vis-a-vis the National Seeds Corporation, various seed corporations of the states and others handle the bulk of supply of the public varieties in the essentially open pollinated crops like the soya bean, groundnut, rice, wheat, mustard, pulses, jowar, and the vegetables. The private sector invested more in the development of hybrids in crops like cotton, maize, sorghum, pearl millet, rice, vegetables, and others. Indian seed industry uses modern breeding technologies, GM technology and other modern tools which have been built on a strong foundation of plant breeding built over the past 60 years. ICAR plays an important role in the crop development programs across the crops. Many Indian companies and multinationals have invested large capital in developing research infrastructure, programs, and manpower. The seed industry is poised for a great future due to the rising need for food and nutrition, the threat of climate change, the need to conserve natural resources, and the emphasis on productivity empowerment for all the crops. Agriculture today has been a vanguard in disseminating information, influencing policies, creating business networks, and recognizing the achievers today. And today we are delighted in hosting the first ever India Seeds Awards 2020 to recognize excellence in the domain of seeds. These awards shall be conferred to celebrate efforts that have made significant contributions in the sector and positively impacted lives of millions of farmers. And ladies and gentlemen, today's event on a virtual platform is an amalgamation of a panel discussion on policy interventions, CEO's dialogues on business opportunities, followed by the award presentation ceremony. It is powered by Prasad Seeds, which is India's largest outsource partner in the seed processing domain and delivering end-to-end turning solutions to global seed companies. And may I now invite Ms. Mamta Jain, Editor and CEO, Agriculture Today, to kindly give the introductory remarks and also introduce the jury members and the panelists for the first session. Over to you, Mamta.
Thank you, Sapna. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, I would like to thank you all for joining us today. And I would also like to take this special opportunity to extend our greetings of World Soil Day to all the agriculturists participating today and welcome you to the first Seed Awards. Sapna has already mentioned all our sponsors. I would like to extend my gratitude and a big thank you to our sponsors, specifically Mr. Prasad Karumanchi, who was kind enough to extend his support to us, Mr. Guba Kiran and the team of Krishi Alert for being our media partners and helping us in promoting this event. I would also like to extend a very warm gratitude to the National Seed Association of India and the Federation of Seed Industry of India, because without the support of Mr. Ram Kondinya and Mr. R.K. Trivedi, this would not have been possible. Since we've never had India Seed Awards before, so I was quite apprehensive about this, but also very determined. So, of course, I spoke to both these gentlemen, and they were so encouraging about this event that, of course, we managed to have enough guts to be able to do this. So, thank you, Mr. Kondinya, and thank you, Mr. Trivedi, for being such a huge support system to us. And now I would like to acknowledge the role of our very eminent jury panel, who have toiled in for almost more than a month's time. We had organized these awards last month, but when they saw the nominations, they said we need more time because we need to scrutinize each and every. We had almost around 140 nominations, and they wanted more time to be able to scrutinize all documents and come to the conclusion of a very effective and very impactful list of winners. So I mean, this would not have been possible without their support. So I would like to acknowledge their role in this. So to begin with the jury members, I would like to thank Dr. K.V. Prabhu, Chairman PPV and FRA. He chaired the jury for this award. Then we have Mr. Dr. V.K. Gaur, Chairman of National Seed Corporation, Dr. Neelam Patel, Senior Advisor, Niti Aayog, Dr. Anand Kumar Singh, Deputy Director General Horticulture at ICAR, Dr. Tilak Raj Sharma, Deputy Director General Crop Science at ICAR. Then we have Dr. D.K. Yadav, ADG Seeds at ICAR, Mr. Ashwini Kumar, Joint Secretary Seeds at the Government of India, Department of Agriculture, Government of India. We have Dr. Kuldeep Singh, Director, NVPGR. We have Mr. Ram Kondinya, of course, Director General, FSII, and Mr. R.K. Trivedi, Executive Director, NSAI. And my special thank you to Malvika ma'am, who has always been a very strong pillar of support for me, especially during the entire scrutinizing process and evaluation of the winners for this India Seed Awards. So thank you, distinguished jury members, for your unconditional, untiring, and unflinching support to us. And special thank you to Dr. Prabhu for I mean, when we wanted to do this as we wanted, but you restricted us कि हमें नहीं हम इसको करेंगे तो ठीक से करेंगे. It's the reputation of all jury members at stake, so we do not want to do a half-hearted job with this. So thank you so much for raising up the bar of this India Seed Awards. Thank you, Dr. Prabhu. So
Mamtaji, you have to mention Dr. Agarwal also.
Sorry, sir. Oh, my sincere apologies.
Dr. Agarwal.
Yeah, of course. Completely, sir. My special and very special thank you to Dr. R.C. Agarwal, Deputy Director General. He is DDG Education at the moment with ICR. Formerly, he was Secretary General with PPV FRA. So obviously, he has been there and done that. So his support was certainly most gratifying because he helped in evaluating all the awards with scrutinizing all the documents and getting the act together. So thank you, Dr. Agarwal. Thank you so much for that. He has not been able to be here because there is a VCs and Directors Conference going on at ICR. So he is busy there. But of course, he would have loved to be here with us today. So thank you, distinguished jury members. I would now like to introduce the panelists for the first session. The first session is on business opportunities, trends, and challenges. And we have the moderator, Dr. K. Narayanan, who is the chairman of Kotaram Foods. We have Dr. Prabhakar Rao, Managing Director, Nuzividu Seeds. We have Mr. Dilip Rajan, MD, East West Seeds. Then we have Dr. Ganindra Shukla, CEO, JA Agri Genetics. Dr. Arvind Kapoor, CEO, Accent High Veg, Dr. Manish Patel, Executive Director, Incotech India, and Mr. Gubba Kiran, CEO, Gubba Cold Storage. So welcome to the panel, sirs, and we look forward to a very enriching session. Over to you, Dr. Kotaram.
Thank you, Ms. Jain. Good afternoon and welcome to this session, CEO's Dialogue. Let me start by commending the Agricultural Today group for having instituted this award and also for having organized this program.
Thank you, sir.
As all of you know, agriculture is a very important component of the Indian economy, not so much because it contributes the highest to the GDP, it may be contributing a little over 13%, but because I believe it's the largest private enterprise in this country. Over 50% of all working people are engaged in this sector. And the primary input for agriculture is the seed. So the seed sector, the seed business is a very, very important component of this whole gamut of the agricultural activities in the country. India is a large agrarian country. Over 54% of all its land is arable, which is probably the largest anywhere else in the world. It's got the second largest arable area with multiple seasons where you can take multiple crops. As my predecessor just mentioned, it's the fifth largest seed industry in the world. Many diversity of crops, diversity of climates. These are many opportunities. Many challenges as well. You know, you have small farms, fragmented holdings. Accessibility to some of these markets could be a challenge. There are rules and regulations, a gamut of them, from the seed bill to even some of the most recent ones, which talks about market reforms. They certainly will have an implication on the seed sector in terms of technology adoption. To discuss this and give their own perspectives, you know, we have a very eminent panel, starting with Mr. Prabhakar Rao, who leads one of the largest seed enterprises in the country. Of course, they have diversified a lot now. Dr. Ganindra Shukla, the CEO of JK Agri Genetics, one of the pioneers in trying to develop some of the new technologies in the country. Mr. Dilip Rajan, the managing director of East West Seeds, a company which spans multiple geographies. Dr. Arvind Kapoor, a very leading technocrat leader who is the CEO of Accent High Veg. Dr. Manish Patel, the executive director for Incotech India. I would say one of the leading seed enhancement specialists in the country. And Mr. Gubba Kiran, the CEO of Gubba Cold Storage, probably one of the larger cold storages in this country, have been serving the seed industry and allied agricultural industries sector for over 33 years now. So let me begin with Mr. Prabhakar Rao. As one of the leading players in the seed sector with a range of crops in your portfolio, also having developed some of the leading cotton hybrids, which probably contributes like to your company, like it contributes to the seed sector, a very major portion of the total revenues for the seed industry. I have two questions to ask. Is this skewness towards cotton within the whole structure of the seed industry, is it an opportunity or a challenge? That's number one. Number two, you are already pretty big. What are the opportunities that you see for further growth? And of course, balance it with some of the challenges and ways to overcome. I think I would suggest that each of us take about 5 minutes when we do the first intervention, and then we can take the questions. We have about, I think we have to close at 3:30. So that's the tyranny of the clock. So we have to stop there. So over to you, Prabhakar Rao.
Thank you, the chairman. I think I will, instead of answering the specific points, I think I'd like to go to the topic straight because you have given us only 5 minutes, each one of us. I
Sure.
would like to focus on the trends, opportunities, and challenges. While discussing, I will also answer the points raised by you.
Sure.
So I think by and large, I see the Indian seed industry now going through a very tremendous phase of opportunities. The agriculture sector of the country is going through big changes. Someone just mentioned about the heat in Delhi, but ultimately this heat is required to generate activity, and then the activity will lead to good results. So therefore, I think as such, it already started, and I'm sure that this will lead to big changes in the agriculture sector. The trends and opportunities we have to discuss together. Therefore, I put them together. One of the biggest change that we have been noticing in the past few years is the exponential growth of the seed replacement ratios. 10 years ago, we used to think about 20% seed replacement ratio, and we were at less than 10%. Today, in most of the important crops, 20% has been surpassed long ago, and they are racing towards 40-50% in many important crops. This is a big change and big trend, and which is also a big opportunity for all companies, small, medium, or large. The farmers are looking for convenience rather than storing the farm-saved seeds, even though it's an option for them, available by law and available by nature. But still, the farmers are preferring to go for buying seeds from the seed companies through the retailers. So this itself is a biggest opportunity that is coming up across the industry. The next big trend is the stress, the biotic and abiotic stress tolerances in various crops. So just to mention examples, the terminal heat resistance in wheat, the cold tolerance in rabi corn, the heat tolerance in many vegetables like tomato, chili, summer bajra in Gujarat, the virus tolerance in again a big number of vegetable crops like chili, tomato, cucumber, gourds. So these are all throwing new challenges and also new opportunities for the breeders. Those of the companies which are able to come with varieties or hybrids offering these solutions to the farmers, they are having very good opportunities for growth. Another trend that is happening is the improved quality of the produce. So people are more and more interested about the better quality in the produce. In cereals and millets, the zinc, iron, protein enhancement in the varieties, transportability and storage of the vegetables, field holding capacity in some of the crops where it is important. The farmer can hold the crop in the field rather than harvest and lose money, and better fiber quality in cotton and jute. So these are again the trends which offer excellent opportunities for those of us who are able to offer solutions to the farmer. Another important trend is the labor shortages, and then the drive towards mechanization. So this again offers a lot of opportunities because in many crops like cotton, it's a very complex problem, the harvesting solution. So this offers a tremendous opportunity for the industry to breed varieties which are more amenable to mechanization. Similar situation will also come in many important vegetable crops very soon. Then we have the policy changes. The government is now talking about Atmanirbharta in agriculture, particularly in oil seeds. So I think there is going to be increased demand for improved varieties in oil seeds, and thereby we have got a challenge, we got an opportunity in this direction. Another trend is a section of the society looking towards organic foods, and again growing organic foods with varieties which have inherent built-in tolerances for diseases and pests. I think that's another trend which we have to look into. Then there is a huge potential for us to export to many countries around us. So this potential offers tremendous opportunity for the industry. Then the molecular and biotech tools for the new product development, those of us who are able to understand and use them, I think we can benefit more. Improving seed quality, with seed quality enhancing materials like biologicals, nanoparticles. So this again, I think looks like a good trend, which can enhance the value of the seeds and also reduce the cost of cultivation to the farmers. A boom in poultry and dairy, as well as fisheries, creating demand for forage seeds. Again, another trend, which I think we need to understand and focus. Coming to the challenges, there is going to be pressure on the R&D. There is going to be pressure on the breeders to come up with varieties, offering the solutions to the issues that have been discussed just now. And there's going to be increased spend and compressed timelines in the future for the R&D. Another important challenge is confusing regulation by the state governments. Even though we have one act governing the whole industry in the whole country, we have regulations, implementations quite different in different states. Multiplicity of litigation due to faulty interpretation of law. Archaic seed law enforcement, the seed quality sampling, seed testing. I think we all know what kind of problems we face. The same sample passes in one laboratory and fails in another laboratory. It goes into a litigation. So much time gets wasted. Undependable test results of the laboratories which test the regulatory samples. So we have been proposing from the industry to the government to have an audit of the laboratories. The government seems to be positive about a positive reaction about the issue, but we have to see when it's going to happen. Lack of demand forecast for the crops in our country. As a result, there's a sudden moment shift of crops which impacts the seed industry. So if there's a proper forecast of the demand, the farmers would have more predictable crop acreages in the country. Last year, there was a shift from cotton to groundnut in Gujarat, and in some other place it is from corn to cotton. So a lot of shifts are happening. So there is no predictability in the crop acreages. So this can be addressed by the government doing a very intensive forecast exercise. Ad hoc and short-term advisories by the state governments on the cropping patterns. It happened in Telangana. So which big change in the seed demand. Unpredictable regulatory environment, which makes it difficult for us to plan our investments on the research. So these are all, on top of this, the public-private partnership, though it is talked about a lot, I think a lot of refinement has to happen, a lot of trust has to be built up. Just to conclude on these things, there is a tremendous opportunity. There is a need to working together, industry, regulators, and the farmers. There is a trust deficit, and we have to move, believing each other, the industry, the regulator, and the farmers. If you all work together, this opportunity that is available in our country can be realized by all of us. Thank you, Chairman. I hope I am able to do it in time.
Oh, yeah. No. It was worth taking that extra time because you have given a very exhaustive and comprehensive list of opportunities and challenges, and I hope your growth strategies are all aligned along the points that you made. I think let me move on to Dr. Ganindra Shukla. Maybe you can take another 4 minutes to add on to what Prabhakar Rao has said, and if I may suggest, as one of the pioneers, as I mentioned earlier, in technology development, some of the new technologies. Do you want to look at it from a technology perspective, the opportunities and the challenges?
Sure. Thank you, Dr. Narayanan. And it becomes easier job for the follow-up speaker because
Sure.
Mr. Prabhakar Rao has done a very good job of really articulating all the challenges and opportunities. But I would like to, rather than getting a little bit tactical about seed sector related challenges, I would say, look, as a seed industry, can we also start donning a different hat and say, look, and this happened particularly after COVID-19. I think the whole trend towards staying healthier and the word natural, you put anything on any level, you put natural, you can charge premium almost for everything. The whole affluent.
You're fading off. I'm not sure if others can hear you.
sites really getting that?
Just hold on, Dr. Shukla. Mamata, are you able to hear him?
No, sir. Sir, Dr. Shukla, I think your mic went off.
No, I
No.
can't hear. Okay, maybe we will fix it. Let me move on.
Dr. Shukla, you need to fix up your mic. I guess it just went off.
Am I audible now?
Yeah, now you're audible.
Yeah, now you are audible. Yes, please continue.
I
Sorry.
think no, so I just wanted to say, Mr. Prabhakar Rao did a wonderful job of articulating the challenges.
Yeah, we
and
heard the first
opportunities.
part, but no, just recently.
Just the last sentence.
Yeah.
Right. So I just wanted to say, look, we have to start looking as as a seed industry. We also start talking about what gets talked about by consumers, and consumers, when I say, is really social media, which is making a lot of noise. So as a seed industry, I think we have to take a now larger responsibility as we move on, and whatever we do, whatever challenges we pose, I think they get also influenced by what is happening in the outside world. And I guess the biggest challenge I see going forward, and all of them actually show up in the form of various challenges we see. For example, if different kind of government regulation come to haunt us, our pricing issue comes to haunt us, our IP issues come to haunt us, a lot of actually it gets generated by the people, probably they don't understand it, right? So how do we also, because if we have to run it smoothly and in a proper manner, how do we start really understanding and appreciating the concern of the larger society, those who have, those who their conversation in the social media and other media actually triggers actions against us. So I think that is one responsibility I would certainly like to say we need to do. And whatever we do in research, I think gone are the days we can only say this is important for the farmer, hence I will do it, and let farmer worry about what will happen to whatever I create. I think we have to start keeping now consumers' interest also in mind, and environmental concerns also in mind. So we can bring whatever technology we like, but if it is not seen seemingly well by the so-called environmentalist, I think then it becomes very, very difficult. So I guess
Thanks, Ganindra. I think you essentially painted a couple of scenarios where we look at considerations for the environment and the consumer choices. You mentioned about health. Yeah, these are new trends and which the seed industry has to be cognizant of. Let me move on to Manish Patel, Dr. Manish Patel, who is the Executive Director of Incotech. Like I mentioned earlier, they are one of the leading seed enhancement specialists. While seed is the primary input, it can be enhanced in multiple ways. And looking from your lens, what do you think would be the opportunities and some of the challenges? And where do you think the seed industry will go in terms of more and more adopting seed enhancement practices?
Thank you, Dr. Narayana. Basically, spotting the seed enhancer on this panel itself says that there is a trend about the seed quality. And just I will try to, summarize the things within 5 minutes about the sectors where we are active. Because seed itself and agriculture itself is a big, I would say, a domain. And within that, no doubt, the quality plays its vital role. And the Indian seed sector, if I look at, and when I compare it with the global sectors, there is a huge gap. No doubt, we stand at the 5th rank in the seed sector in terms of market size and the values. But when you look at, as you rightly said, half of the population of the country is engaged in the agriculture. So I would say when, largest private enterprises are involved in the agriculture, and seed is one of the vital elements to bring the revolutions. There has to be a tremendous focus on the quality. And that's where, as a country, we lack actually. And it's not about, I would say, the basic seed quality, but also about, the latest trend in the technology where in terms of research, the fundamental research, we are having a big gap within the country in the academic area. And apart from that, when it comes to the seed quality enforcement, I see a huge challenge for the government also, and also for the private sectors. Because when you talk about the seed quality, it's not about only, I would say, the enhancement technology, but it starts somewhere from the production, and it needs to be delivered till the retail chain. So when you start, from production till retail chain, how to keep the consistent quality, and that's one of the biggest challenge. And in terms of enforcement for the government mechanisms also, there is a lot of, I would say, ambiguity and also very uneven, I would say, regulations from one provenance to another provenance. And as Mr. Prabhakar Rao said, when it comes to the seed quality controls by the government, the testing environment within the country are also not capable sometime, and it's creating unnecessary litigation for the industry. So, as a challenge to achieve the best quality in the seed for which farmers are ready to pay the price, it needs a lot of R&D investment. And another challenge for adopting any new technology in the seed as a company of seed enhancement, we see is the seed selling price in the country. Basically, India is at the bottom in the global seed market when it comes to the seed selling price. And that has to do definitely with our, farmers, which are smallholders, poor paying capacity, but that's limiting the adaptation of new technology. And sometimes even government is also interfering with the price control mechanisms. So I think when everything is getting liberalized and it's a supplier and consumer issues of price to be decided, and just try to make it an open choice for the consumer. As Mr. Shukla said, we have to keep in mind the consumer behavior, and that's really crying for the best quality. So as a seed specialist, I think achieving the best quality and to deliver it to the farmers itself is a big opportunity and the tremendous scope for growth. And I think in the coming years, if we have to expand the footprint of India outside of India in terms of export, then this again comes in a picture where not only technology need to be integrated in our supply chain, but also the policy environment, which really encourage the quality for the consumers.
Thanks,
so this is
thanks,
just in
Dr.
nutshell,
Patel. I think
my view.
very important points. I think so. There's a lot of catching up to do in terms of seed quality, conditioning, and delivery to the farmers. That in itself could be an opportunity, as well as the challenges you mentioned about price capture mechanisms and stuff like that. Let me move on to the Managing Director of East West Seed, Mr. Dilip Rajan, a company which operates in multiple geographies. So I guess you can have an inside out as well as an outside in kind of view of the Indian seed sector. What do you think, in your view, is the opportunity? Where are the opportunities and where are the challenges? Of course, many were very systematically laid out by Prabhakar Rao and some of the previous speakers. But what is it that you can add?
Yeah, thank you. I think it's always a hard act to follow. But good afternoon, everyone. And thanks to the Agriculture Group for including me among this eminent panel of seed stalwarts. I'd like to offer my comments to the question from Dr. Narayanan through the lens of the smallholder farmer. As we are all aware, they are vital for India's agriculture and the rural economy. Now, oftentimes, they face the twin vulnerabilities of risks and uncertainties of production and the unpredictability of market forces. Now, come to think about it, an asset-owning class of citizens, albeit small land holdings has remained poor in our country, is truly a paradox. Therefore, the key question for us as a seed industry is, how do we put more money into the pockets of the farmers through high-quality seeds and a knowledge of improving farming practices? So, as was mentioned earlier, this pandemic really has brought into sharp focus the need to reorient our food basket. Plant-based nutritions are now becoming more seen as a sustainable system of production and consumption. Now, it's important to note, Dr. Narayan, that even before the pandemic, the food supply chain was already in transition. The forces at play are still the same, but the pandemic, as was mentioned by Mr. Shukla, has really exacerbated a few of them. Consumers today are signaling that their eating habits will change permanently, which means we need to have different product and service innovations. Technology will disrupt agri-value chains, drive higher productivity. It will create new channels that are not there to market. And there is a greater willingness now to adopt digital technology. We all know the fact that we're on a video call today is a sentiment that the pandemic has shown the value of digital tools, and agriculture cannot be left behind. I personally believe that we are right now on the starting block of the fastest technology race in farming history. The combination of big data with cutting edge science, as was mentioned by earlier speakers, we are talking about artificial intelligence, cloud connected, can really revolutionize our industry. Put simply, if I were to say this into four: conservation agriculture, connected agriculture, advanced agronomics, and consumer-driven demands. You've already heard, and I'll not belabor the point, we're seeing increasing labor costs, we're seeing production costs, regulatory barriers. But to me, the biggest one is climate change. So how do we, through breeding, whether it's conventional or new techniques like CRISPR-Cas, bring forth climate resilient varieties that can resist pests and diseases and still yield stability? How do we promote crop diversification to counter the resource depleting monoculture practices in India? We talk about water guzzling crops like sugarcane and rice. And lastly, the mention on agribusiness. So I want to close with the following comments. As one of the most mature and vibrant seed industry in the global seed market, how can the Indian seed industry adapt, integrate, align with technology, with new business models, with global competition, and prepare for the new normal? And then, for some folks who know I come from pharma, how can we become the seed hub of the world, similar to the role we play as the pharmacy of the world today? India will show its prowess again by producing vaccines for the entire world. Now you contrast that. 4 countries in the world contribute 75% of the international seed trade, whereas we do 1%, roughly about $100 million. So, Dr. Narayanan, in conclusion, I remain bullish of our industry. I see us playing a crucial role in food production and increasing farmers' income. And my last statement is, if seed led the green revolution, there is no reason why we should not take that lead again. Thank you. Over to you.
Good. Thanks, Dilip Rajan. You painted a very wide canvas with multiple technologies, the potential for some of these technologies to enhance the seed and the agriculture sector and the welfare of small farmers. You talked about digital tools. Yes, I do completely concede that some of the tools which we never conceived of would be used in agriculture are going to get used there, and we are already starting to see the beginnings of it. Agriculture, I think in future, is not just going to be agronomy, botany, plant breeding, and genetics, or similar seed technology, but it's going to be a confluence of multiple domains. No, it could be engineering, it could be digital technologies, computational biology, artificial intelligence, and we are seeing the movement towards those. And while talking about technology, I have to bring in my old friend, Dr. Arvind Kapoor, who basically is a technologist and now is the chief of one of the emerging vegetable seed companies. And maybe follow on, Dr. Kapoor, from what Dilip Ranjan said about the opportunities for technologies, specifically in the context of vegetable business, seed business in the country.
Yeah, Narayan, thank you very much. Well, what Dilip said and what others said about the technologies in agriculture, I think on the one side we talk agriculture as a global village, but sometimes we restrict ourselves to boundary of the countries. So I think we have to be at one statement that yes, we are a global village, and we have to exchange not only the gene pool but also the technologies. See, in recent years, what we are seeing, the treaties, which is international treaties, where we are asking for germplasm exchange. And industry is very clear that the germplasm should be freely available, easily available, and the value should be shared after the product is formed. And everybody agreed there that we should share value to the society when we form a product. But what is happening is that when the science become politics and the scientists become the regulators, the things started reversing. And I don't know what is the reason, but I think recently we have seen the same scientists who when different language, when they sit on the administrative side, they start changing their things. And the recent meeting of ITPGRFA very clearly states that we are going to have a system of subscription model where we exchange not only germplasm, but also international development in the technologies. But what is happening is that even the digital sequence information, which is the basic information we are creating to understand genomes and understand that we can develop a trait for better for our growers, so that they can save many of their values and time and money to get a better crop. But what is happening is that everybody wants to be regulated, even digital sequence information, germplasm. And I think in India, we have hardly 3 to 4% of our germplasm requirement met, which is a domestic. It is an international system. I think we have to come upon our own thinking level, that we are part of the global scientific community, and everything which is being shared, developed, exchanged, we should do that, because that is the only way we can develop the product. I think a lot of innovation is happening, though in innovation index, India is lowest in the rank. But I think we can go up very fast if we change our attitude and change our policies. Because there are a lot of technologies, like we could talk about CRISPR-Cas9 now technologies which are coming up, but still we are struggling to make the regulatory policy in place. Though we have discussed many times that these are the policies, we say we are developing different mutant populations. We are doing a lot of other things. I am not discussing GM, but a lot of technologies we can use which are of different types. But to the contrary, our seed industry at present, I think barring few, most of the smaller industries, they cannot use these technologies. Neither they are near to it. So I think how we can make them affordable, first of all, and then how to make policies affordable. How do we join hands at the, we call it upstream level, because there are non-competitive issues are there. I think even in India, at the non-competitive issues, we are not together. I'm not talking about competitive issues where we have to compete with each other, but there are not a lot of non-competitive areas like developing technologies, developing systems, developing other things like Dilip said, the artificial intelligence or other things. There we can join hands because cost will be lesser. We can come to a kind of finished thing which everybody can further finish it and use it in their own system. In else world, everywhere people are using these kind of things. They're all common in one platform, and they compete with each other at the downstream marketing. So I think in technologies, if I say, I think at present we are at very low level, and we have to do something better in terms of discussing, in terms of putting up the policies in place, the regulation in place, and think very openly. Don't think as that I am a regulator, become a regulator, I have to do something different. I'm not a politician, first of all, because most of the people who are scientists, when they go to the level of some regulatory position, they more become politicians rather than become the scientists. So I think they have to work like scientists, and they have to do the work like scientists. This is what my suggestion is.
I think got your point. I think very interesting points you make. But if you look at it historically, science and politics have always gone together, not just in the agricultural or plant science field. Anyway, let's not get there. But you actually had a litany of problems, which actually one has to surmount before infusing various technologies. You talked about plugging into the global system, collaborating within and without. So Atmanirbharta in some ways does not mean closing yourself up, but actually connecting with various people in developing. And I think one point which struck me was that you suggested that there should be collaboration at the upstream end of developing technologies, while there can be competition at the downstream or in the market end of things. I agree with you. Maybe the public-private partnership also needs to be strengthened, because some of the risky part, the earlier discovery part of the research can happen there. Good. So I think let me move on to round off this segment of the panel discussion. Let me move on to Gubba Kiran. As I mentioned to you, I think he manages the Gubba cold storage, which has been serving the seed industry for over 3 decades now. A very valuable service. Seed which comes back from the market, the excess inventory, the germplasm, the parent seed, they all have to be kept in such a way that their degeneration is delayed, because they have their shelf life has to be extended. And here is where Gubba comes in. Gubba, over to you for your perspective.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Namaskar to all the audience out there, and thank you, Agriculture Today, and for giving me an opportunity. And thank you, to be part of this distinguished panel. Way back, I think 1997 or 98, when we started to think about a seed cold storage in those days, when we scouted, we had just two companies who were having a specialized seed cold storage where they maintained a temperature and a humidity to keep the growth, to keep the germination of the seed alive. Just two companies, and that is how our journey started, and that is where we are. Of course, we handle now close to 500 companies. That is a different ball game. But what I want to harp upon here is the core competency. The other speakers did speak about we contributing 1.5% of the seed sector, whereas in pharma, we are much bigger. So both the agriculture and the medicine industry are critical industries, which especially we have seen after the pandemic. But there's a huge scope in the agriculture industry, especially in the seed industry. And when the scope is all the more, you need specialized players to add air under your wings. If the seed industry wants to fly high, you need specialized players specialized players like logistics people, the cold storage people, the warehousing, the processing, the drying. We need altogether the biotechnology labs. We need the seed labs, which are accredited seed labs like ISTA or NABL, and we need germplasm cold storage facilities and so on. So the ecosystem has to be built to further strengthen the Indian seed industry to fly much ahead. Why I keep talking about the core competency, today, if Maruti also starts manufacturing a rubber tire, then I don't know how things would be. Let Maruti specialize in its core competency of engine. Let the non-core items like a tire be given to MRF and so on. So the same thing here.
Kiran, you please go ahead.
Yeah. So today, the ecosystem has to be, as I said, the ecosystem has to be built. And the common infrastructures have to be built, common germplasm banks have to be built, such that the private sector comes in sets up a common germplasm, region-wise germplasm, what you call foundation seed cold storages, where it will impact the smaller companies also. India has many small companies. Now, they don't have the valid infrastructure to store their foundation seed or a germplasm or even a basic commercial seed. So, when you outsource certain things and when you stick to your core competency, the best will come out back to you. Being Hyderabad, if you look at the kind of infrastructure we, the Hyderabad, have built in the the number of processing plants, the number of dryers, the number of warm ambient warehouses, the number of cold storages, probably nowhere in the world so much of concentration of India, the seed industry and allied industry is there, which is in the Hyderabad. So such pockets needs to be built across India for that big, robust growth ahead. Now, ongoingly, the confidence from these allied sectors have to be given to the seed industry, such that the best of the outcome will come. With this, I just want to end this thing, because there's hardly, time.
Yeah, sure.
3:20. So I know when I'm the last, I've got a little crunch time over there, but fine. Yeah, thank you.
Oh, thanks, Kiran. I think that's been an interesting perspective. I think you essentially mentioned that I think if it is a seed company, they shouldn't be doing everything themselves. They focus on their core competence, leave out the storage and some of the things to other players who specialize in that. That's a good thought, food for thought, I would say, for some of the people to think about. But we have 9 minutes remaining, and I just want to pick out one or two things which emerged from this discussion, and then maybe post this to the different panelists and see what reactions they get. Prabhakar Rao, you mentioned about the seed replacement ratio. I do agree. There was a time when seed companies were focused only on hybrids because then there has to be almost 100% seed replacement. People have to come back to the company to buy every season. But now there is an increasing trend of replacement of even open pollinated varieties. And Arvind Kapoor and many others referred to, regulations actually rather than facilitating, actually stifling some of those initiatives. Now, with respect to seed replacement ratio, and also with respect to developing better and better open pollinated varieties to be run by seed companies, it is very important to have intellectual property protection so that you can have the necessary investments. Otherwise, there's a whole risk, particularly with the open pollinated varieties. Now, the question is, do you think the existing Plant Protects PPVFR, FRA, the Protection of Plant Varieties and Farmers' Rights Act that we have today, of which Dr. K.V. Prabhu is the chairman, was member of the jury, is that adequate? Because I sometimes, you can correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think the seed industry has really leveraged this particular provision for protecting the intellectual property. Do you think the provisions given are adequate, or are there exemptions which can be misused, or what is it that will tighten up the regulation? I will actually, after Prabhakar Rao, I will go around the table and get inputs from the others as well. Maybe a quick intervention from you, Prabhakar. You have to unmute yourself. You have to unmute yourself.
Yeah, sorry. So my feeling is that there is an opportunity with reference to the farmers coming back to buy seeds. So which also opens up the open pollinated variety seed market to the seed industry. And of course, you also need to bring in your own varieties if you have to capture a big share out of the open pollinated variety market. So that exposes you to the challenge of, to the risk of somebody selling your variety. But if you look at the situation in our country, the innovator who launches the variety first has been getting the biggest market share in spite of others copying the product. That is the one encouraging situation for the innovators to continue investing money and innovating varieties. The point number two, answer to the problem is our plant variety authority has got adequate powers, and the Act has got adequate provisions to prevent any other seed company from illegally selling a variety of a seed company, of one seed company. Somebody else cannot do that. A farmer using the variety is of course provided in the Act, and we are not, there's no reason for us to complain about it, because in any case we are not imagining that there's going to be 100% seed replacement ratio for the OP varieties. So therefore, I think I answered both the aspects that you have raised.
Can I take it that it is adequate, and the small leakages that you have because of piracy is acceptable? Is that what your point is?
I'm not saying acceptable. What I'm saying is the provisions that are there in the Act for registration of a variety, they are taking about 5 to 6 years as of now, going by the past experience.
Okay.
So I have been proposing to the authority as one of the members on the authority, I have been proposing that you compress this time limit to maybe 3 years or at least 4 years. So please see that it doesn't exceed 4 years. So I think the authority was quite positive about this suggestion. As a member of the industry, I made this suggestion.
We will see some changes in future.
So they are also trying to make it 4 years, but as of now, it is taking 5 to 6 years. So
okay.
Until then, in any case, enforcement becomes difficult for you. So therefore, the registration process, if it gets compressed, I feel there are adequate provisions in the law of blocking someone else from copying one company's variety.
Okay, let me go in a different order. Dr. Arvind Kapoor, do you fully agree with Mr. Prabhakar Rao, or do you think it needs tightening? Because vegetable seed business is almost wholly based on hybrids, but there's a huge opportunity for varieties as well.
No, there are 2-3 issues are there, which we surely, the PVP authority has to think about it. Though we are not the member of UPO, yes, because of one provision that the farmers' rights, which is now clearly defining internationally also and by ITP JRFA also. But the first question is that why industry is not coming aggressively to protect their material? That authority has to think. You see, in China, they have made registration free of cost for all the industry, whether in domestic or international. In 1 year, they got more than 50,000 applications for registration, which they are doing well within time. In India, in law, it is written that the PVP authority has to give the certificate within 3 years of submitting the application, but it is taking 7 to 8 years. So we are also flouting the provisions of the law itself, first of all.
Okay, so you are saying that, sorry to cut you off, and I apologize. We have the limitation of time. So you are saying that there is scope lot for improvement. Dilip Rajan, I want your perspective on this, geographies as well, and you operate there. Are Indian laws adequate, or are there very specific comments that you have to make on improving them?
I was expecting you to ask me the question, but thank you. So I think I'll build on what Dr. Kapoor said, and I think in terms of going back to echoing his point, we need to tighten up the approval timelines, enforcement of the law, protection of the breeders' rights. Having said that, I also would say that the whole narrative of viewing this lens of a genetic gains developed by conventional plant breeding, we've got to start looking at all the other competing economic interests, especially as you alluded in your question. After the advent of GM crops and bundled products, the key I would like to see is to see it from in the conventional breeding. So what are the genetic gains? How are we doing? And talk about benefit sharing models that's defined in our Plant Variety Act, that's inclusive, promotes a competitive environment, and discourages emergency of monopolies and market dominance.
Good, thank you. I think that was quick. Ganindra, any specific comments on this? And I just want you to tell whether are you comfortable with this gene fund, which a registered variety holder has to give? Is that clearly defined, or are there ambiguities around it?
Well, I think there are a lot of ambiguities. I guess one of the thing is unwillingness of players to hand over the parents. I think obviously there's a lot of discomfort there, but I also want to build on what others said. Look, I think while government will do what they have to do, I guess collectively, if we believe that we are doing the right work of developing technologies and seed and genetics, how do we also behave ourselves and find a win-win approach where we can compete and collaborate at the same time? Because a lot of seed industry, and I've spent almost 3 decades now in the seed industry, all what has happened is inflicted upon us by our own colleagues. Right?
Got your point. I think it's a two-way
larger issue. Is there an elephant in the room? Is there an elephant in the room which we don't want to talk and we want about only others? Right.
Correct. So I think quick words from Manish and Kiran. Manish, you must be having some seed enhancement technologies to identify and protect the IP, right? Labeling. Very quickly, can you mention those?
Like the seed, we do also have a couple of techniques which can influence the performance of the seeds directly, and that's mainly in the domain of priming, I would say.
But there are some methods of IDing the seeds, right? You have certain markers or something that you can put on, which is physically coating. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's true. And but most of the techniques, when we think about, I think when it comes to the patent or registration, then we think about only a few of them and not all of them. Since it has to do with the
limitations in the patent protection regime. There can be physical methods by which you can protect the seeds. And final question to Kiran. You handle so many different companies. How do you build Chinese walls between them? How do you actually protect the? Maybe with that we will close. Maybe a quick comment from you.
In fact, in one of the Indian Seed Congress, one of our MNC guy was saying, "How on earth you store more than 150 companies' foundation seed? How on earth you store
without mixing up
companies?" I don't know about the Chinese wall or which wall or the Indian wall, but we maintain that confidentiality, we maintain that integrity right from top to the bottom to ensure we
So it's
don't
all about your SOP and your
attitude.
discipline in following that.
Absolutely. See, so
Good.
you will
I
have an
think
SOP.
we have come to the end of the program. Sorry, we had to make it short. As I said, no, it's the tyranny of the clock, and please don't blame me for having interrupted. I think it was a wonderful discussion. Obviously, these issues cannot be trashed out in a 1 hour discussion, but we did touch upon several points, and I'm sure the listeners have taken note of some of those issues very systematically and sometimes diving deep into it by all the panelists. I would like to thank all the members of the CEO panel who participated in the discussion and also the authorities who actually organized this discussion. Back to you, Mamata. I hand over to you. Thank you very much. You need to unmute. You have to unmute your mic.
Yeah. Dr. Narayanan, there is a suggestion from one of the participants. He mentions that hybrids to be improved in paddy and seed storage in India has to improve to retain the vigor of seeds. So just in case you would like to respond to that, sir?
Sure, that's a suggestion which I think all of us have taken. Seed hybrids have to be improved and seed technology has to improve. Right. I don't think there can be two opinions about that. We all accept that. Of course, a lot of research on hybrid rice is going on. There are some challenges, particularly with regard to the quality of the rice and the balancing it with the productivity. I think anybody wants to add anything more? I think that's where we are. And of course, in seed technology, we had some glimpses of some things that you can do in this discussion. Yes.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you, Dr. Narayanan, for brilliantly moderating this most interesting and most enriching session. And I am sure all our participants have a lot of food for thought and a lot of takeaways from here. People specifically who are interested into the seed business. So thanking all panelists here, I would like to now move on to the next panel discussion, which is on policy interventions for seed efficacy. And I would like to invite first the panel moderator, Dr. Ram Kondinia, who is the Director General, Federation of Seed Industries of India. Then we have the panelists are Dr. S.K. Malhotra, Commissioner Agriculture, Government of India. Dr. K.V. Prabhu, Chairman, Protection of Plant Varieties and Farmer Rights Authorities, India. Then we have Dr. K. Keshavalu, MD, Telangana State Seed Certification Authority and Vice President of ISTA. We then have Dr. A.P. Srivastav, who is the Director, Agriculture for Government of Uttar Pradesh. We have Dr. R.K. Trivedi, Executive Director, National Seed Association of India. And we have Dr. Malvika Dadlani, former Joint Director, IARI. Dr. Kondinia, I have a tiny request to make. If we can quickly have Dr. Malvika Dadlani in the beginning, because she needs to catch a flight back to Delhi. So most likely she's at the airport. Yeah, and we'll be switching off soon.
Okay, sure. Well, thank you very much. I hope you can hear me properly. Can you?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Loud and clear, sir.
Okay.
Ram, it's okay with me because I have different travel. So, but it's okay.
Oh, great. Excellent. That's good news. Okay. So first, let me thank Agriculture Today for organizing this the awards and also the panel discussion in preparation for the awards. And thanks for having me as a moderator for this very high-profile, distinguished panel. You know, it's very rare to get such a distinguished panel of very high-ranked government officials. So let me start by welcoming all my panelists. It's a great honor to be here today. So I will just, the structure which I'm proposing is that after a little bit of initial introduction by me, we will have opening remarks by each of the panelists for about 5 minutes each, and we will follow that up with a discussion after that. So let me start by saying that seed is a very politically sensitive subject. It is agriculture by itself is politically sensitive, as we know today on the borders of Delhi. So it is a very sensitive subject, but seed by itself is also a very sensitive subject. So in terms of achieving the common objective of all the stakeholders, whether it is industry or government or researchers or anyone else, our ultimate objective is to make sure that the farmer gets the right quality seed and he is able to use good quality seed to enhance his productivity. So taking that for granted, we do know that government policy plays a very critical role in ensuring this. Without supportive government policy, seed industry would not have grown to its present size. I think the major policy initiatives which happened in the 80s and 90s have actually contributed to the growth of the industry. So we know that government policy works in the shorter term and long term both. And with a strategy, if they have in mind, with an end picture in mind, it actually takes a very predictable journey. But the predictable is a very important part of the equation. How predictable is our policy is something on which we need to also discuss. Creative destruction, as Schumpeter said almost 80 years back, that every new technology and every new product replaces some of the old technologies and old products. This is what is called in economics, they call it as creative destruction. So you destroy some existing thing to bring something new, which will redefine the structure of the industry sometimes. It can redefine the way some of the inputs are used. And this is what is called creative destruction. The government policy in many ways has to facilitate introduction of new technologies and allow the new technologies to replace the old technologies and achieve what is called creative destruction. This is also another objective of the government policy. Agri is a state subject. This is something that makes it a slightly more complicated thing than some of the other industries. While the central government makes all the regulations, it is the states which actually implement them. So I think we also need to discuss that a little bit. It's good that today we are going to have the Dr. Srivastava from UP, who will bring that state perspective also into the mind. Challenges of coordination and alignment between center and states. And as it was mentioned in the previous discussion, challenges of uniform implementation of acts across states. These are all things on which we can have some discussion. Many stakeholders have to be brought together through government policy because different stakeholders have different objectives. So how do we achieve this alignment between different stakeholders also is something to be kept in mind. As discussed in the previous one, there are huge opportunities for exports, to use digital satellite and big data technologies, to develop climate resilient products, which will be very critical for the future, to conserve natural resources, which is another new objective that we have today for our agriculture, and to be actually compliant with many of the international treaties. These are all things which we have to keep in mind when we talk of government policy. How does the policy encourage and facilitate all these things? How do we also make sure that there is a pricing freedom and there is a kind of a freedom given to the industry to actually deliver value and charge for that value? I think these are all things on which I hope that we will have some discussions today. So we have many policies and many acts. We have the Seed Act, the new Seed Act, which is coming into play. We have the PPU and FR Act on the intellectual property protection. We have the quality aspects and how do we bring Indian seed quality to international standards, and what does the seed industry want? How do we promote research? These are all the questions I hope the panelists will address. So I would like to, without wasting much time, I would like to start it off. So maybe I would request to start with Dr. Malhotra to give his thoughts on any subject of his choice among all these policies that we talked about. Dr. Malhotra. You're on mute, sir. Yeah. Okay.
Good afternoon, everybody. Namaskar to
Good afternoon.
everybody.
Namaskar.
I'm really very happy to be here with you all on this eve of Indian Seed Awards 2020, Agriculture Today. It's really an important panel which has been here constituted, and it's a major focus policy interventions for promoting seeds efficacy. Yes, no doubt, this is an important topic, I should say. We really need to have a interaction and we need to discuss and deliberate on this part. Definitely our panelists, learned panelists, they will come forward with the important points which will be further useful for us to take them forward. I was really very happy when I read the report of that IMARC group that now Indian seed market has reached to the value of US dollar 4.8 billion in 2019. It's really a very important, I should say, progress which is now happening, and it has exhibited double-digit growth during the 2014 to 2019. Really, it's a remarkable achievement for which the seed industry deserves the appreciation. This has happened only because of their active role which they have played. And then, as you might have noticed that here, Indian seed market has witnessed major restructuring as a result of the implementation of some progressive policies by the government. Several policies have been implemented, and that has helped in strengthening the Indian seed industry in the area of research and development, or product development, or supply chain, if I speak about the quality assurance also. So many such decisions were taken in the past, and those policy decisions have helped in addressing the many issues. And owing to this, India has emerged as the fifth largest seed market across the globe, after US, China, Brazil, and Argentina. So these are the very important and encouraging results which are now appearing. I could listen few of the speakers in the last panel session which was going on. Many points were raised. So in between, I would like to address those points also, for which whatsoever response it's available with me, I'll definitely share with you. But before that, as a panel member of this session, I would like to mention about some policy initiatives which Government of India took very recent past during this COVID pandemic period when lockdown situation was there. First thing which we did, that here seed dealer license, which was earlier for 3 years, now it has been enhanced to 5 years. It was only for 3 years. Now it will be for 5 years. Then another point, many of our industry colleagues, they are importing as well as exporting the seeds. So they were applying time and again. So what do we do? That what applications were pending with us, they were considered as a deemed approved, and we gave them the license, or you should say the permission that yes, go ahead for export or import in any case, whatsoever may be. So that was the policy initiative which was taken during this period. Then another point, breeder seed rate was also not enhanced. We kept it stable. Yes, we will not enhance it. And we want that farmer, they should get benefit. Traders, they should also get benefit out of it. Definitely seed rate will also come down if breeder seed is not increased. Then another point also came into our notice, that revalidation of the seed lots which have expired. There were several instances where the matter was brought before us, that some kind of policy decision is required to be taken, because revalidation again and again permissions are coming from the states. So what we need to do? So here what we did, we exempted up to December 2020. We took a decision, and an exemption was granted till December 2020. So up to 31st December 2020, this will be this will is available now presently. And few of the speakers in the previous session, they mentioned about that there is inconsistency in the, I should say, some regulations. Yeah, I agree with you. States, they are implementing at their own. They have made some their own kind of standards they are implementing, and some kind of consistency. They are inconsistent. Some kind of uniformity is needed. Yes, it was realized at ministry level also. And being a chairperson of the technical committee of the Central Seed Certification Board, I took that issue and we discussed with the states. So I think full 1 year it took, and now we have reached to a final conclusion, and we have made a seed certification manual. So it's the first time that seed certification manual will be published. Earlier states were having, but we were not having this uniform seed certification manual. So this seed certification manual is in press. It is in press. It will be soon published, and already a lot of discussion took place in that. Industry was also involved, and we had a discussion with the industry. We had a discussion with the states. So then finally we reached to the conclusion, and we have now a final draft which is available with us, and Honorable Minister has already approved it, and it is in press. It will come soon out of the press, and it will be made available to everybody. Even it will be uploaded on the website of the Department of Agriculture and Then so far as related to this cotton seed, that also what we did here again, we have, though it was already mandatory, it was complete that refugia in bag that is required to be put for BT cotton seeds. So, but now aggressively we have made it, and we are asking, we are requesting the industry as well as states also that they should ensure that this is now being followed, because there were several reports which were received from states that some kind of resistance breakdown to this pink bollworm and some other menace that has been reported at various places. So at some place, one of the speaker was also mentioned somewhere that yes, government should not intervene in the price regulation and all other things. But I think there is only one instance where Government of India intervened for price regulation and all that mechanism. That was only BT cotton. Otherwise, I think there is no any point which you can cite. So nowhere government interferes for price system and others. Whatsoever industry decides, that being on, and that is happening at the different levels. So here we time and again to the industry that they should keep their margin up to some acceptable level, so that our seed cost is reduced and seed is available to the farmer at a very reduced cost. So we time and again request to the industry that they should keep their margin up to some acceptable level. So as an agriculture commissioner, as an horticulture commissioner, because now I am holding another position of horticulture commissioner also, here I would like to urge to the industry that here high value and low, I should say that low volume, some seeds are there, vegetable, flowers. So our industry has put more emphasis on this. So I congratulate them. Yes, they should put more emphasis on them, because now we are emerging as a leader in the world market. We are emerging as a leader. Our industry deserves compliments for this part. But because our country has also its priorities. So our expectations are also from the seed industry, that they should also comply and they should also help and support government agendas, particularly this millets. Now millet program has been started. So here there is a shortage of the millet seed in the country. And Government of India presented its proposal in FAO to observe International Year for Millets. I got the chance to present that in FAO Rome, and our proposal has been accepted, and 2023 has been allotted for observing the International Year for Millets. Just for information on the House, I'm mentioning these points. So millet is one of the example. Then mustard, again, it's an important area where government has decided and fixed its target. Yes, we have to achieve now from 90 lakh tons to we have to go to the 125 lakh tons. This is the target which we have fixed for mustard. So oil seed sector is another important sector for because worth 70,000 crore we are importing these edible oils. We want to increase our own capacity. How we will be in position to increase our own capacity if good seeds are made available? So we have put a condition to the state. We have requested to the industry also that they should make available the seed of the mustard varieties which produce around 2 quintals per 20 quintals per hectare yield. That should be more than that. Only those varieties should be promoted so that we can enhance our productivity, production. So we want that productivity-led growth should happen. So accordingly, pulse is again, this is a national agenda. It's a national priority. So we need to put focus on this. We need support from industry for forage crops, soybean, groundnut. These all are the sensitive crops where industry should also pitch in along with these vegetables and flowers. Time and again, the issue of spurious seeds is raised. Yes, we need to have a quality assurance system in the country. We have a quality assurance system in the country, but we need to see that how aggressively we can implement it. States, they are doing to their best, but we need to further see, and we need to do, central government needs to do the monitoring. That aspect is also now being taken care of. So here, what I can say that for that point of view, one point was also raised by one of the speakers that seed testing lab, some kind of undependable results are coming. So those undependable results, why those undependable results are coming? Yes, there are several reasons which have been identified. Sometimes what happens, yes, first I would like to mention that we have the option. We have national seed testing laboratories available in the country. So we could utilize that part, and provisions exist, and such kind of anomalies could be addressed through national seed testing lab. But besides that, several factors have come into the notice that sometimes testing people, they may not be knowing sometimes that here temperature setting, each and every crop has its a different temperature demand for testing. Irregular power supply has also been noticed somewhere. But anyway, these are the points which should not come, but we have a set guidelines which are available in the country. So here my request to the industry that if any change they need in the seed certification standards, please tell us. We will examine it, and we are on the way to review it again. So your input will be very important for us. So kindly tell us of that part. And one more point was raised that export we need to increase. Yes, we have a great capacity. Already industry has proved it. And we are exporting a lot of seeds from our country. But one last point I would like to mention here, that our country has its own system of identification of the varieties. All India Coordinated Research Project Improvement, that system is existing in the country. Only few of the industry are participating in that AICS. They are getting their material tested in multi-locations. Very few companies, they are doing it. So my request is that if we have a National Agriculture Research System which is available in the country, we have a network, AICRP network which is available. So if your material is good, then they should not shy, industry should not shy in getting the material tested. They should join the program. Yes, sometimes they say that ICR is charging more. It is not more. I think the charge which they are going to make, it is minimal. If you compare with the profit which you are going to accrue through your this business. But anyway, these are the only few points which just I wanted to share and mention here to you all.
Thank you.
And I'm very keen to have some inputs from your side. I'll attend your full program. So those inputs will be very helpful to me, being a chairperson of the technical committee of the Central Seed Certification Board. I assure you, I will pick up those issues, and definitely, if at any stage, if we are stuck, we will try to provide the solution to those problems. So
thank you, Dr. Malhotra. I think that was a very comprehensive coverage of several things that the government is doing. We will come back to you. Glad that you will be staying through the program. We'll come back to you, and also would like to discuss a little bit about the new Seed Act, which is coming into the, which will come in front of the Parliament soon. But we'll come back to you after we finish the full round. Can I? So I think research being a very important area where we need to step up research investments and efforts. On that particular subject, how the policy can support more research investments into whether breeding or biotechnology or any of these new technologies that are coming. I would request Dr. Malvika Dadulani to give her views on what can be a supportive policy environment for this. You're on mute. You're on mute. You're on mute.
Ma'am, we can't hear you. Please unmute yourself, ma'am.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, now
yes,
we can
yes,
hear you.
yes.
Okay. Thank you, Ram, and thank you, Agriculture Today, for giving this opportunity. I think there is a paucity of time, and I would try to be as brief as possible. On this issue about investment on research in agriculture and in research and development in agriculture in general and seed in particular, I think there is no two opinions about increasing the investment. My points are three only: increase, relocate, and encourage partnership. Increase means we need to enhance investment on agriculture research and development, because many studies have shown it very convincingly that R&D in agriculture is a component where we get the highest return in agriculture. So we have to increase, which is hovering around 0.4% of ag GDP for the since 2003. It needs to be more than double. At least it should be brought to 1% of ag GDP. There is no two ways about that. We have to increase investment in agriculture R&D. But having said that, when we have a paucity of funds, when you have limited resources, then it becomes even more important that whatever little resources we have, we use them as judiciously as possible. So there comes the second point of relocation. At present, there is a lot of duplication and repetition, and to reduce that, I mean, my suggestion would be, in terms of policy, there has to be a policy of identifying the best teams and best centers with capabilities, and then prioritize crops. Whenever there is a, we have identified crops and given a mission mode approach, we have got best results. Whether it is hybrid research or any other, for that matter, you can pick up. So we need to identify the best centers. We need to prioritize crops and give a program in a mission mode approach. And these centers can act as the lead centers, and the research programs must be taken in consortium mode, so that many centers who are other capable centers, they come together. Instead of overlapping and duplicating, they need to complement each other so that we can maximize our outputs. And the third part could be to encourage private investment in agriculture R&D for crop improvement. Now, with the first session, a lot have been already discussed about hybrids, about the changing requirements, whether it is for biotic, abiotic stress tolerances, or specific quality of the produce, and so on. Now, also we talked about the new technologies, the next gen or cutting edge technologies, whether they're using omics or gene editing or genetic manipulations, a whole range of those. Now, there is a possibility of the private sector investing more, either solely or in collaboration with the public research institutions, which need to be encouraged. And how to encourage in terms of policy, either encouragement in terms of giving them certain benefits, certain incentives, that could be tax benefit or any other kind of benefits, incentives. And secondly, when we encourage this kind of cutting edge technologies, investment in cutting edge technologies, we must have a clear policy regarding gene edited crop developments. As of today, there is a total lack of clarity in terms of policy. We need clear policy guidelines. Similarly, BRAI, we need approval of the BRAI as well as the clearance of the guidelines, so that the industry gets a clear message that whether to go this way or not go this way. And if we have a policy not to support these, then that also may be spelled out very clearly that it is not going to be supported. But that will definitely encourage more investment by the private sector, either independently or in collaboration with the public institutions. And finally, when there is more partnership, I think Dr. Malhotra also spoke about the potential of India in terms of exports. There's a need to revisit our EXIM policies. And if there is research for the sake of capturing some exports, some markets outside, that also is ultimately beneficial for the country. That kind of policy is not available at the moment. So that also is one area when, if we have clear policy guidelines, I'm sure there will be more investments. Thank you, Mr. Moderator.
Thank you so much for giving such very important points, and that too within your allotted time. Thank you so much. I think it's good that you mentioned about prioritization of crops and avoiding duplication. I would also go a step further and then say that there should be some kind of a coordination between the research being done by the NARS system, the CG system, and the private industry, so that we can actually focus on the respective areas of strength and then bring out products which are very relevant for the farmers. On the research companies and encouraging research companies, there should be also a system of recognition for companies who spend money on research. I think currently we don't have a policy like that. So these are all a few things that can actually help in increasing the research investments. So thank you very much for bringing out these points. I would now go to Dr. Prabhu. I think after research comes intellectual property protection, because whatever comes out of research also needs to get protected. And Dr. Prabhu, being the master of the IP Act and the authority, I would request him to give his thoughts. One is the legal aspect. Second is the cultural aspect. I think this is also something which came up in the previous session, that as a culture, how do we build an IP culture in the country among all the seed players? Not only seed players, I think in general we need, but I think seed definitely we need. So I would request Dr. Prabhu for his comments.
Thank you, Mr. Ganindra. It's a lovely opportunity for me to be in the presence of these many people who spoke in the first session and now. It is really important for us to understand the protection which is now being granted in the Indian system is as valid or as powerful as any of the other protection systems, including UPAW system. Arvind mentioned something about how we are different from UPAW, and but how we are also different from China, who have been able to do that with large number of 50,000 applications just by making it free of cost and sticking to time. It's easier said than done. It's correct that Arvind mentioned that we have been taking longer time than 3 years. That's only because the 3 years rule, which Arvind also mentioned that we have flouted that provision in the Act, is the rule actually, not Act, a provision in the rule, is a Rule 37.2. In that, what we say is we should attempt to give the registration certification within 3 years after the application is made, with understanding that there is nothing missing in the application and there is no other, say, missing points which are during the trial system that come in. So most of the delays have been because of this only. Now, I assure Arvind and everybody else, after the 2019 Kharif, applications made before 2019 Kharif, that is during that period, those applications after 2018 September, applications submitted for Kharif 2019, from then onwards, everyone will get their certification if they pass through the test by 3 years. That's what is now being done. Okay, there is absolutely no problem. The past ones, of course, there are other reasons, and there were some inadequacies in the manner of receiving applications. Like seed was never taken in with the application, and seed would never come in time before it had to go for the trial system. So it's just not that you deposit it on a particular date and add 3 years and give it. It has to be in the time when the seed has to be sent to the station where the trial has to be conducted, and it has to be after we identify a suitable reference variety which is closer to the material which is being claimed as different. So these exercises take time, and this was not being done, and this is where the mistake was. And we were also learning. My predecessors were also learning in the process of how to deal with it. So that part is, of course, taken for granted, that we should be giving in 3 years, provided there is no error in the application, material is in time, in arriving in time and in shape and quantity as required. Even today, with all, Arvind also mentioned people who are scientists, when they become regulators, they become different. They become political and things like that, he said. I don't know whether he meant me or somebody else, because I matched that point very well. But the point is, it's very clear that whatever is in the act has to be done. If it was not done in the past, it has to be done now. The point which is important for each of us to realize is that farmers' right is never going to come in the way of a variety's popularity, varieties say making money for the company. It's a misnomer. I have myself seen it in the public sector as a breeder of a variety, how farmers can be used as your valid ambassadors. That part is something very important. And no farmer will ever use his own seed, leave alone his buying another farmer's seed, if seed is available to him which he desires at a place in time when he wants to plant. This is 100% truth. And no farmer is afraid of investing for the seed. Seed cost is the least of all the costs of production, factors of production, and farmer knows it, and no farmer will ever hesitate in buying a variety seed which is available from a right authentic place in time for him to plant. So therefore, a farmer using farmer seed and that coming in the way for industry to come to us for OP material is never a real problem. It is only a presumed problem. No industry really worked on OP variety to say this point with validity. Most of the industries have used some others varieties or varieties they took from the public sector in the OP case, most of them. Of course, there are small say volume crops where there are OP varieties from other companies, but they are not they're not in big competition for any threatening value for them to be afraid of. So therefore, there is no crisis in terms of the protection being abused or not being totally respected, and there is no aim that the government has to do something if they want protection to be given as a necessary phenomena with the companies. Now let me come to the legality. There are I can spend more than 2 hours in talking of the legal parts. That's not wanted here, but I want to assure the industry here that in the policy side, whatever is there at the moment, which we have now recently put up in the FAQs, where all the clarity about how farmer is also to follow certain norms to be entitled for his rights is also very clearly mentioned. Please go through it. And then the other point of what is the culture part, which Ram mentioned, is important in terms of enabling the companies to engage agents, engage licensees, which is not a culture at the moment in the country. The act provides for transferring the liability of poor seed or any compensatory requirement to be paid for the variety if it doesn't perform at the farmer's field to the licensee if the licensee is legitimately assigned by the company, and that legitimate instance, the licensee also registers with us. Okay, and therefore, if a licensee is a defaulter for the quality of seed for any reason, it doesn't truthfully perform as it should, the compensation will be billed to the agency, the licensee. Both agent and licensee, both are enabled to be the owners to cater to the liability of anything that happens otherwise. And then the company which is investing in as a breeder to release that material or to license that material out will always be able to make the benefit out of it by staking that much of claim which it thinks is legitimately their share of the profit the licensee makes. And you can continue to make the commissioner also mentioned there is no say control on the seed price that way. And with this regulatory option available to them, there is no need for the company to be worried of even the public sector to breed a seed price for the protected varieties. For protected varieties, they are free to charge whatever, not exorbitant enough where the farmer can come in, or other seed producers can come in and say that it's too exorbitant, we cannot produce seed, and then I can go in for what is known as the compulsory licensing system, things of this kind, which are legalities. Now, to cut short, the point here is the cultural viewpoint is my request to all the seed producers or seed manufacturers or breeders is come to us for protection, and we assure you that in the 3 years of time which is available to us after we submit the material in time, we are given the windows also for Kharif crop, summer crop, and Rabi crop. When is the time within which that year will be valid for you for testing? If you come to us in that window, it will be tested that year and the next year. So these are the things, and they're all very clearly mentioned now, and these are being followed. And if you miss that bus, you'll have to wait for the next bus. So that part is different. But given everything else, you can follow things in time and come back, license it, and make them responsible for your spread, and make them your say ambassadors or your say crusaders for the variety to spread beyond the area where you have a field operators. So that's where the material should go, and that's how it can go. And I assure you that we are not going to come in the way of any material that is good in terms of its quality, in terms of its differentiation between existing material and their material. If one trait, even if it is new trait today, not listed in the morphological characters, if it is a new trait, you give us the trait validation part and trait say estimation part, value of the trait or expression of the trait. If it is molecular trait or biochemical trait or medicinal trait, give us those protocol. We will do that. Assign this as this new character for your variety, which is different from other varieties, and we will see that it is registered for that material. So as you said, value-based say seed price fixation can also be affected through this. Thank you so much, and I hope I finished in my time. Thank you, Ram.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much for making some very important points. I particularly liked your point that industry should go ahead with OP varieties because the farmer will not come in the way of their popularizing it or making profits on that. And also I liked your point very much that seed cost is actually least of the cost. I think this is a factor which many people don't understand. In fact, the data published by the Directorate of Economics and Statistics of Ministry of Agriculture itself shows that seed cost is hardly 5 to 6% of the total cost. So I think seed is the least of the cost, and the seed cost in India is one of the lowest in the world. So I think we should not worry too much on that front.
Yes.
But we should worry more about delivering more value to the farmer, higher quality to the farmer. I think that is what is very important. So thank you very much, Dr. Prabhu, for those comments. I would like to request, I would like to now go into the quality aspects, because I think that's where we just talked about that how do we enhance the quality of the seed instead of worrying too much about the cost of the seed. So there is no one better than Dr. Keshavulu to talk on that subject. He is not only in charge of certifying some of the largest volumes of seed in India, but also he is on the ISTA Vice President position. I think he is the best suited person to tell us how can India provide a policy framework for India to produce seed of international quality for domestic market. Export, we always talk about high quality, but why only for export? Why not for our own farmers we produce international quality? So I would request Dr. Keshulu for his comments.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. So good afternoon, everyone. It is everybody like in the first session and then this session. So everybody talk about this background information, then how quality should be, and then what is to be. I mean that some of them. So they mentioned that the huge gaps. So when we look at the Indian seed industry, so the past 5 to 6 decades. So where I think so we have to appreciate the Indian seed industry for providing the food to our Indian population. So that's the great, and then it's not so easy to feed our population and then I appreciate and then thank the seed industry as mentioned. Several speakers mentioned about it, especially the previous session, the moderator, he mentioned that the diverse sizes and then diverse farmers and the diverse ecosystems, however, we could able to supply the seeds. So when we look the public and the private sectors, and then so really it is playing a excellent role, and then therefore we could able to produce we have the quality seeds of we produce the 484 lakh quintals of seed against to the 443 lakh demand. So that therefore almost more than the 40 lakh quintals, 41 lakh quintals of the seed we are producing higher than what we require. Then of course, and then so our Indian seed industry is fast growing, and then so however Dr. Prabhakar Rao also mentioned that, and then we need to improve the quality and then quality standard on par with the developed seed countries. And then not only that, I think so Dr. Ram mentioned that, so again our domestic quality also needs to be improved. Yes, right. So this needs to be improved, but here then the Manish Patel also mentioned that we have the huge gaps in the international market if we want to reach to the international standards, and then therefore what we have to do. So here I think my suggestion is then how to scale up the seed quality at the international standards. When we talk about the quality, always and then quality and then the seed trade in the several meetings, the words we always hear that the elite germplasm is required, then intellectual property is required, and then good high yielding variety is required, and then so it is required. The innovations are required, IPs are required, and then just now talked about the digital technologies and then artificial intelligence. These are all the required for the seed industry. But apart from this, the most important one is the seed quality aspects. So in this context, the public research organizations and seed companies and some of the seed companies, they are not focusing much on the seed quality during production and then post-harvest technologies. And then that is the order of the day. So therefore, here, therefore, and then need to relook on existing the national production system, that is the generation system, starting from the breeder seed to the foundation seed, for breeder, foundation, and certified seed production. So here, as so Dr. Malhotra ji also mentioned that so he is also bringing out the one seed certification manual for the uniform procedures and to follow the entire country. Yes, that is required, but only thing is how to effective implementation in all the states that is the more important than the having just having the manual. That's what the most of the states we are suffering now. So therefore, I think so we may have effective implementation and then effective monitoring on these seed certification agencies. That is the order of the day. So therefore, so we certainly we could able to improve the standards to our farmers. Then here, in most of the countries United States and then European Union and then Australia and then New Zealand and several countries, like the effective functioning of the seed certification we have seen, and then in some of the countries the seed certification is mandatory. But however, we need the effective monitoring system in the country. That is the most important. Then coming to the post-harvest technology, like so here that everybody knows, like from the harvesting to until it goes to the packing, I think so that window period from the harvesting to the packing, from like the threshing, drying, conditioning, and processing, that window time needs to be reduced as far as possible. Otherwise, the initial seed quality will be again deteriorated, and therefore, and then we cannot reach to the international standards to supply our domestic market. That is one of the most important. And then and then for which I think we need, even from the government of India also, we need some policy on this, or some government order or executive order on this, on the post-harvest technology. That would be really great. And then coming to the seed quality assurances, yes, we have the several seed testing laboratories, more than the 130 seed testing notified laboratories. And besides these, like as mentioned by the Mr. Prabhakar Raoji, he mentioned that we have the several seed testing laboratories from in the public and private, but in the I would say in the most of the seed testing laboratory, there is a need of the competency, infrastructure, facilities, and then for which I can. So one of the speakers also mentioned that I think monitoring system or the auditing system. If you look at in many of the countries, the seed testing laboratories have the monitoring system and then auditing system, but for which I think our joint secretary working on this, I think probably we may get this at the earliest. And then besides this, the joint secretary seed also, like we had a meeting and just a couple of days ago, and then he was very keen to develop the seed testing laboratory, at least one laboratory, aggregated laboratory in each state, so that our quality can be improved. So that's I thank the government of India in this regard. And then finally, one of the most important point is, and then everybody we talked about it, like the plant health and then seed health, that the phytosanitary issues also need to be sorted out, and then this needs to be some guidelines are required from the government of India, because now and then from the other countries, all the seed companies, they are requesting us to these phytosanitary issues, to sort out the phytosanitary issues. For example, if I wanted to test some viruses in the laboratory, but I think so the laboratories, the virus laboratories also need to be strengthened in the country. So this is one of the most important for the movement of the seed from one country to other countries. Then so here I wanted to mention the one like example in the Southeast Asian countries, like the Thailand. We can see the Thailand is coming up with the attractive hub for the seed production. They have only the 184 seed companies, and then now the seed sector, the Thailand seed sector, envisages producing the good quality of rice seed, leguminous seeds, and then forage seeds to meet the global demand. And so here, and then it is a second biggest exporter to the vegetable seeds. And then the countries are the India, Vietnam, and then China. And then when we look outside the Asia, the main importers of the Thailand vegetable seeds are the United States, Netherlands, and Europe. So therefore, this happened due to the policy interventions and then maintaining the seed quality during multiplication and then storage, and then until it goes to the packing, and then I would say until it goes to the complete supply chain, until it goes to the farmer. So with this, like one of the wonderful opportunity we have at even the global level now, so we had a good representation at the global seed sector, so have occupied the important positions in the several international seed organizations, like the 3 important organizations like International Seed Federation. The vice president is the Santosh Attawar, and then Manish Patel as the vice president of the Asian Pacific region, and myself in the ISTA International Seed Testing Association Vice President, and so we will be there in the coming couple of years. Then, so it is a great opportunity for us to work and then to build the domestic seed supply system, and also to accelerate the seed exports to the other countries. So with this, words. Thank you very much for the great opportunity.
Thank you, Dr. Keshav. That was very nice. I am very happy that you discussed about setting up ISTA lab in each state. I think that will go making this happen. I also feel that we should look at seed treatment as very seriously. Seed treatment as a science, I think, is much neglected in the country. We still use very old-fashioned seed treatment chemicals, and we have not upgraded our seed treatments. I think that is also something which we need to look at, perhaps. And storage. If you see that storage of seed in hot summer months, the rice seed which goes to the markets, the storage conditions really make the quality drop very rapidly. I think some of these aspects we need to look at to not only produce good quality seed, but also to maintain it till it reaches the farmer. So these are a few things, I think, but thank you very much for bringing out all these points, and thanks very much. So we now go to the state, UP, which is the largest state, and we have Dr. Srivastava here, who heads the agriculture department. So I look to Dr. Srivastava to bring out the state's perspective and also the comments with the implementation of the Seed Act across the states. So what are your thoughts and your comments on this, Dr. Srivastava?
सर नमस्कार सर, मैं एसबी सिंह बोल रहा हूँ, एडिशनल डायरेक्टर सीड एंड फार्म। डायरेक्टर एग्रीकल्चर साहब अभी लिंक नहीं कर पा रहे हैं, तो तब तक मैं अपनी बात रखता हूँ सर आपके सामने। सर मेरी आवाज आ पा रही? मेरी आवाज आ रही सर?
यस यस आ रही है।
सर हम लोगों ने अपने स्टेट में, चूंकि एक हमारा बड़ा स्टेट है और एग्रीकल्चर में सीड एक बहुत ही मेजर इनपुट है, उसकी व्यवस्था हमारे लिए एक बड़ा चैलेंजिंग हुआ करती है। और ये आप भी सब समझते ही हैं सर, आप सभी लोग टेक्निकल लोग हैं, जानते हैं कि इसकी प्लानिंग जो है 1 साल 2 साल पहले से करके ही हम इसको सुनिश्चित कर पाते हैं। तो हमने पूरे स्टेट के लिए सीड रोलिंग प्लान बना रखा है, और सीड रोलिंग प्लान में जो हमारी एकरेज है और क्रॉप एरियाज है, उसके हिसाब से हमने अपना निकाल रखा है कि हमें किस क्रॉप में कितना अपना जो सीड रिप्लेसमेंट रेट रखना है। इसके रिगार्डिंग हमारा सीड रोलिंग प्लान के हिसाब से, जैसे हमारी मेजर क्रॉप जो है व्हीट है इस समय, तो 45% तक का हम लोगों ने इसमें सीड रोलिंग प्लान रखा है। दलहन तिलहन में ऑलमोस्ट 60% या मोर देन 60% रखते हैं। तो उसके हिसाब से तो हम लोग सीड रोलिंग प्लान के हिसाब से सभी जितनी हमारी ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस हैं, सप्लायर्स हैं, यूनिवर्सिटीज हैं, केवीकेज हैं, प्रदायकर्ता हमारे हैं, एनएससीज हैं, उनके लोगों को शामिल करके हम ईयर टू ईयर अपनी जितनी डिमांड होती है सीड की, वो हम अरेंज करते हैं और उसके हिसाब से हम कार्य कर रहे हैं। 2 इशू सर हम आपके सामने रखना चाहते हैं। एक तो जो सीड कंट्रोल के बारे में, सीड कंट्रोल ऑर्डर की बात करें, एक्ट की बात करें, और दूसरा इशू जो है मैं रखना चाह रहा हूं सर कि जो सीड इकोसिस्टम में जो तमाम ऐसी अनवांटेड वेराइटीज हैं जो किसानों को नहीं पता होती है और बिचौलिए आकर के बेच के चले जाते हैं, ऐसी घटनाएं अब लगातार बढ़ रही हैं। और ऐसे बड़े बड़े ग्रुप्स जिसका नाम नहीं लूंगा, वो ऐसे मामले में पाए जाते हैं। पता लगा कि किसान जब उसकी फसल पूरी तरह से हरी भरी है सर और उसको हार्वेस्टिंग होनी चाहिए, उसको वह एक्सपेक्ट करता है कि उसकी 80 कुंतल कील्ड आएगी हाइब्रिड राइस की, पता लगा अंतिम दिन बता उसकी बाली नहीं बनी। ऐसी घटनाएं हमारे स्टेट्स में कई हुई हैं, ये सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट के जानकारी में भी है सर। हम लोग जरूर चाहते हैं कि इस पर एक इफेक्टिव कार्रवाई होनी चाहिए, और एक्ट का वो इशू जिसकी वजह से जो सीड कंट्रोल ऑर्डर और एक्ट में जो एक सर मेमोरेंडम है 29 अप्रैल 2016, वो बहुत बाधा है क्वालिटी कंट्रोल के लिए क्रियान्वयन के लेवल पर। तो एक इशू मैं आपके सामने रखना चाह रहा हूँ, ये हालांकि इसके पहले की बीसी में भी हमने इस बात को, ये तो आज आप ऐसे फोरम पे रख रहा हूँ, ये एक दिक्कत है जिसकी वजह से हमें लगता है कि पूरे देश के लिए ये एक दिक्कत की बात होती है। दूसरा, हाइब्रिड के सेक्टर में कई लोग इस तरह का कार्य कर रहे हैं कि उनका कोई ट्रायल नहीं होता, उनकी कोई पेरेंटल लाइन नहीं होती, हॉरिजॉन्टल लाइन नहीं होती, और वो मार्केट में लेकर चले आते हैं। तो किसान तो बहुत भोला है सर, उसको बोरे के ऊपर जो लिखा हुआ उसी भरोसा करता है, और उसके हिसाब से वो जब काम करता है और क्रॉप लगाता है, मुझे लगता है कि वो ठगा जाता है, छला सा महसूस करता है। तो एक दो इशू आपके सामने में रखना चाह रहा था। और तीसरा सर, हम लोगों की जो अगली प्लानिंग है, इस प्लानिंग में सर जब रेट फिक्स होता है सर, ये जितने भी सप्लायर्स हैं, चाहे वो प्राइवेट सेक्टर को, सीड इकोसिस्टम में जितने लोग भी शामिल हैं मानवर, रेट का जो निर्धारण है वो बिल्कुल मुझे लगता है कि वो कंपनी टू कंपनी सप्लायर्स की अपनी मोनोपोली है। ये देखने के लिए भी जिम्मेदारी बनती है कि बाजार में जो उत्पाद है उसका उत्पादन पर लागत, एमएसपी और उसके हिसाब से जो कास्ट आती है वो रेट होना चाहिए। तो ये चीज नहीं हो पाती है। आज मार्केट के अंदर उत्तर प्रदेश की बात करूं कि गेहूं का भाव जो है इस समय काफी कम है, और हमारी सीड्स जो है बहुत कॉस्टली जो इनपुट है वो महंगा है। तो कई बार किसान की पकड़ से बाहर होता है। तो मुझे लगता है ना कि किसान भी हमारा पार्ट है, तो रेट का भी फिक्सेशन इस प्रकार हम सबको करना चाहिए। हमारे जो सप्लायर्स हैं, चाहे गवर्नमेंट एजेंसीज हों, यूनिवर्सिटीज हों, प्राइवेट सेक्टर के लोग, कि जो किसानों की पहुंच और उनके पॉकेट को अलाउ करता हो। तो ये इशू, जो दो इशू मैंने आपके सामने रखे, इस पर चूंकि आज एक ऐसा सेरेमनी का काम है और उसमें हम आपके साथ पार्टिसिपेट कर रहे हैं, तो ये दो तीन इश्यूज हैं जिस पर आगे हम लोग और भी चर्चा करेंगे। मुझे लगता है कि स्टेट की तरफ से और कोई इशू सर एज सच नहीं है।
थैंक यू।
और आपका बहुत बहुत आभार कि आज अपने हमको अवसर दिया सर। बहुत बहुत आभार सर।
थैंक यू, थैंक यू, थैंक यू। आप इतने अच्छे पॉइंट्स लाए हैं सामने। ये जो वैरायटी की बात आप कर रहे हैं कि बगैर टेस्टिंग का वैरायटी बिक रहा है, या बहुत सारे वैरायटीज हैं मार्केट में जो नहीं होना चाहिए। मेरे ख्याल में ये सब अभी जब नया सीड एक्ट आएगा जहां वैरायटी का रजिस्ट्रेशन कंपलसरी होगा, शायद इससे थोड़ा हमको रिलीफ मिलेगा डेफिनेटली। तो बाकी हम डिस्कस करेंगे। थैंक यू वेरी मच।
Thank you, sir.
So finally, we come to the industry. I think Dr. Trivedi, your views on what kind of policy support does the seed industry require, please.
Thank you, Dr. Kodia, and I'm really thankful to the Agriculture Today group, and especially Mamta Jain for organizing this webinar and also for organizing this Indian Seed Awards. In fact, I'm very happy that Ms. Mamta Jain, in fact, she took this initiative. When initially she came and met us, we said, yes, let us start. She said, this is the first type of award. So she was having some hesitation, whether it would be successful or not. But I must congratulate and I must appreciate her that with her concrete efforts and with persuading to others, she's able to finalize this award and also organizing this seminar. So really, I must be very much thankful to her and I must appreciate her.
Very good.
And now, another important thing, though, I am at the last, but I want to tell very important that I think policy makers as well as regulators are also sitting here. And I think this is the time when our voice can go to these policy makers as well as regulators, that what are the concerns the seed industry is feeling. So I'm afraid if I take some time, but this is the real time for us and this is the real platform where we can highlight our issues. So I just want to say a few things. First thing is, definitely the government has done a lot of good things. We appreciate. And in fact, the government, because of the government efforts and their support, the industry has come to this level where we are standing today. But this is not sufficient. As we all know that our SRR, highestly SRR in all crops together comes about 40 to 45%. So still there is on the canvas, 55% is empty. So the industry has a lot of scope to grow. And the government should also make efforts, because as Dr. Prabhu has said, that farmers are always ready to get the best seed if it is available. So I think this is the time when we can say that government can take some concrete steps and policy decision where, so that from here we can jump to another level. And I think as I just want to know that in up to the 1995, there were national seed project 1, 2, and 3. And because of the NSP only, we have this type of organizational structure today. So I just want to tell that now there is a time that government should think for another some project, or they should go for a national mission on seed. This national mission on seed is a very good step, and it should not have all those things which are presently existing in the seed division, but it should have a broad spectrum, and it will do various intervention for the development of seed sector with their some independent and autonomy in functioning. So I think this is the time when they can think of that. And the another important thing which I think is that the most crucial thing which industry require is the availability of fund to the seed sector in the form of subsidy as well as in the form of a soft loan, especially to medium and small seed companies for investment in R&D sector. That is very important for strengthening development of a nationwide standard-driven uniform variety evaluation system. And also this fund is required for development of global standards for seed supply chain, for development of infrastructure facilities, especially for processing, packaging, quality testing, and storage. And also one most important thing which industry requires is the working capital support, because nowadays there is a financial crunch, and only now the seed industry is comprised of all small, medium, and big. So if we want to reach to the nook and corner of the country, therefore we have to strengthen the medium and small seed industry also, so that they can reach. And for that they require some funding for R&D. And R&D, if they have good R&D, definitely good material will come and will reach to the farmers. The second important policy intervention which we need from the government is, as all speakers in the first session and this session, they said that export. Definitely we have hardly 1%. And we all said we should do, Madam Malika Dani said we should have some changes in our seed policy, or we have some exim policy. But what I said, if government really is serious, we should have an export promotion council for seed. And this should be on a participant PPP mode. It should not be 100% government, but it should be like industry and government both have an equal contribution. And this export promotion council should exclusively work to make that today is 1% or 1.5%, which we should reach to the 10% of our global share. So for that purpose, if this export promotion council is established, definitely what we said that India is having all potential, we have a good manpower, we have a good infrastructure, it should be harmonized. And if we do this, definitely it will help to the country. So I think Dr. Ramaswamy is there. I'm happy that the industry itself is a very strong these days. So another thing which I also need that government should intervene is now that FDI. Definitely we have 100% FDI, but now we have to reconsider that what should be the policy, because it should be on a reciprocal basis. Those countries we have, and we have seen that some of the countries like China or some Indonesia, they are not giving Indian companies to a 100% subsidy or 100% owned seed company in their country, and they want participation from the domestic country. So where we must have some reciprocal arrangement like this. Those countries which allow us to do 100%, let me go. But those which are not allowing us, we should have a participation. Some Indian companies should have a participation with them, so that we have an equal platform. So there is a need for reconsideration of 100% FDI policy. Definitely one most important, I think, that Agriculture Commissioner is there, and that is the uniform implementation of seed legislation. But here, actually, the Agriculture Malhotra Sahab said that they are making the seed manual, certification manual. But here, sir, we want some different. We want that whatever the position, like even Uttar Pradesh said that they want some type of testing, but what type of testing they want. In fact, there should be a uniform procedure by all states, because seed companies are now working on an interstate basis. So every state, if suppose they make some state want that before giving a registration or before allowing they want 1 year testing, some want 2 years, some says they want 3 years multi-location. So there must be a uniform. Yes, 1 year means 1 year. At what level, whether companies should have their own R&D and they do the testing and share the results on the basis of that. If they allow, that will be fine. Let a uniform system be developed by all the states, and that central may take a lead and give our direction that this is the set procedure. These are not for the certification, but for general registration of variety, or for general getting a license for seed dealer. or for marketing or for business, there should be a uniform procedure required throughout the country. This we want, and I think government may think on this direction also. Definitely, one more important thing is about the ICR role. As I think Madam Dadlani also said, some said that all companies, why not they are even Agriculture Commissioner himself said, why not all seed companies are not testing their material in the All India coordinated trial or our agriculture research system. I think most of the company will be happy, but because they have to conduct a multi-locational trials and at a different location, and therefore sometimes the cost is one of the factors. So if some rational thing is made that only for this location this must be testing charges, or location basis or regional basis, some different charges they made, and then some concession they may have made to the medium and small companies who have no much money or who have a limited funds for testing. Let they support them. Definitely, I think most of the companies will come forward and go to the ARAS agriculture research system and get their variety tested. Because those which are established seed companies, they want a continuous and strong business, and for that they want a continuity. So I think that is one of the very important need for this.
Sir, our guests of honors have joined in. So I'll
I
be
think
grateful
we'll
if
have
you
to
could
close.
please, yeah,
No,
wind up.
my most of the points are
Yeah.
there, and some of the points, Mr. Pondinia, you also are from the industry and you know what are
Yeah,
the things.
sure.
So I think
Sure.
some of the remaining
Thank you.
which are in my mind, but you understand what is in
Thank
my
you.
mind, because we are both in the same
Sure,
boat.
sure.
So please share those
Thank you.
things. And I think definitely
Sure.
we are ready to support to the government and to the farmers. Thank you, please.
Thank you. Thank you. Only one point I want to mention on exports, particularly for attention of Dr. Malhotra, that the new Seed Act proposes all varieties to be mandatorily registered. If there are some exclusive export-oriented varieties, we made a representation that they should be excluded from the registration process because they are not meant for domestic market. They are meant only for export purposes. I think that is something which we would like you to consider. We also want to take up that there is a process for PPV and FR registration, which we are going through. It should not happen that we have to go through again testing for registration purposes. So there should be alignment between the two, that we test the products only once and not twice between the two requirements, regulatory requirements. I think those are a few things which we would like to mention in terms of the Seed Act, new Seed Act, which is coming. Actually, I wanted to have some more discussion on the Seed Act, but unfortunately we have run out of time. So I will have to conclude it here. So let me thank all the panelists for bringing out such rich comments and viewpoints, which we will summarize, and then we will try to create a kind of proceedings of this with all those important points. So thank you very much. And now it's back to you, Mamtaji.
Sir, if you could please just share your afterthoughts. In fact, invite all afterthoughts from all the panelists also. We'll add it into the report. Yeah, we'll add it into the report and share with Dr. Malhotra and the government also.
So you are saying people should send through email, right?
Yeah, of course. I mean, they can all send it to you. You could compile it, or you could send it to us.
I think
and
that
we
would
can
be a good
compile
idea.
Yeah.
Please,
so that
all the
we have takeaways and afterthoughts that could be pondered on.
Sure.
Right.
Thank you very much.
So Sapna, over to you for the final ceremony.
Thank you very much indeed, Mamta. And ladies and gentlemen, in this event on the virtual platform, we had two very interactive sessions. The first one being on the opportunities, trend, and challenges. It was the CEO's dialogue and the policy interventions for promoting seeds efficacy. And now we have move on to the most important part of the event, the presentation of the India Seeds Awards 2020. And we have with us our guests of honor, Dr. Ashok Dalwai, who is CEO NRAA and Chairman Task Force on Doubling Farmers' Income, and our guest of honor, Sri Rajiv Ranjan Mishraji, who is DG Namami Gange. And ladies and gentlemen, we also have all our distinguished awardees joining us in this award presentation ceremony. A warm welcome to each one of you to the India Seeds Award 2020, which is being presented by Agriculture Today Group, powered by Prasad Seeds, And our institution partners are National Seed Association of India and Federation of Seed Industry of India. Our media partners are Agri News Network, Krish Alert, and Goba Seeds News. So after that warm welcome to everyone, I once again invite Ms. Mamta Jain to kindly take over and invite and welcome all our distinguished dignitaries who are present here with us for the India Seeds Awards 2020 presentation. Over to you, Mamta.
Thank you, Sapna. A very warm welcome to our guests, our most revered and most honored and most loved guests of honor, Dr. Ashok Dalwai, Dr. Rajiv Ranjan Mishra. I'm especially very fond of him because obviously coming from Allahabad, Ganga has always been very close to our hearts. And since Dr. Mishra is taking care of the River Ganga, the cleaning up of River Ganga, so obviously hats off to him. So I feel very honored that he agreed to be a part of today's event. And of course, we have one very special gentleman with us. He is Mr. Prasad Karumanchi, chairperson of Prasad Seeds. Without his support, this event would not have been possible because he just took less than 10 hours to just study what we were doing and confirm his participation. So thank you so much, Prasad sir, for agreeing to our request and supporting us with this event. And I would now like to invite Director General Namami Gange, Mr. Rajiv Ranjan Mishra, to unveil the December edition of Agriculture Today, because we would like to commemorate this today as the soil, it's the Soil Health Day today, so we would like to commemorate this day by unveiling the December edition, which is a soil health special. So, Dr. Rajiv Ranjan Mishra, please.
Thank you very much indeed, sir.
IT team, can we have the pages, please? A few pages from the edition. That is Dr. Ratan Lal, the recipient of World Food Prize and the most renowned soil health specialist. That is Secretary Fertilizers, Dr. Ramasamy, Mr. Prasad Karumanchi, and obviously Rajiv Ranjan Mishra sir. He is the DG Namami Gange. Rajiv sir, I would like to invite you to say a few words, please.
Thank you, Mamtaji. And it's so nice to be here at a short notice and could see some of the deliberation in the previous session and the kind of enthusiastic participation, especially in the session on policy interventions on seed efficacy. My senior colleague Ashok Dalwai sir, all other distinguished persons here. It's a very important occasion today. Agriculture Today has brought different stakeholders together, and it's a very important occasion because it's distinguished people are getting awards, and also today is World Soil Day, and we just unveiled the latest edition of Agriculture Today that's dedicated to looking at soil health and how it is important. In fact, in this gathering of eminent people from agricultural field, perhaps I may be looking like someone who is not really working in this field is joining you. It's very important occasion for me to also just share some of the thoughts that how the river and agriculture is connected. I think everyone understands that river is needed for the irrigating the agricultural fields. But in Namami Gange, we are also looking at in a reverse way also, because the way we do cultivation, the way agriculture takes place is also very important for rejuvenation of the river. And that's why perhaps our association with agriculture sector in this mission has been very strong right from beginning when the whole program was conceptualized. We all know Ganga Basin is the largest basin in the country, the most important basin from all aspects, whether it is cultural aspect or agricultural aspects or economic aspects overall. And hence, when we were looking at rejuvenation of this river, government also looked at taking a long-term view, and that's why agriculture, sustainable agriculture is one of the big area, one of the very significant area in our overall river rejuvenation. One thing let me share, because often we only talk about cleaning. Cleaning the river or water resource is not enough. So we have to actually talk about cleaning plus, and that's what Namami Gange mission is actually doing. We are looking at river cleaning is certainly one part, that's the pollution abatement. I mean, a stop flow of pollution. At the same time, there is lot of concentration upon, lot of focus is on improving ecology and flow. When we come to improving ecology and flow, and also the third part is connecting people with it. When we look at ecology and flow, perhaps agriculture becomes the most critical aspect where the water is abstracted. We all know, especially if I give you the example of Ganga, but the similar thing can be seen at many of the rivers. A very large part of water is abstracted. The moment Ganga reaches Haridwar, and after crossing Haridwar from that barrage in the Ganga canals, we almost abstract more than 80%, 85% of the water for irrigation. So the river loses water, it starts gaining polluted flow. Now what happens, this is also not very, it's not only harming the river, because with all these things, there is a lot of pressure on agriculture, and then the agriculture with more intake of chemicals, it also gets polluted, and non-point source or area pollution also comes to the river. So that's why when we are looking at all these things, we have been interacting, and then we have been trying to improve organic farming and also water use efficiency. Now, earlier, the flow was very important, and we were doing several things on that. And then there is a lot of focus now from our mission also, along with the support of the Agriculture Ministry and the states, to try to sensitize people, farmers and other stakeholders about soil health also. Of course, as we know, the physical resources of any basin, the most important physical resources are soil and water. And they are all, both of them are also related, though sometimes people may not note them so much, but they are interrelated, they interact with each other, and that's why soil health becomes very important. One, directly for the agricultural production, but more than that, perhaps indirectly, it actually affects the river health, water health, with the kind of biodiversity, soil biodiversity. We are very sensitive about the animals on the ground, like tigers and other things. So in this mission, we are also trying to give a focus upon fisheries and also upon dolphins and other aquatic animals. So the overall biodiversity conservation is a big focus area. And now the soil biodiversity becomes very important, which often people who are working in the water sector or working in the environmental sector or on the rivers, perhaps they do not give same kind of importance on the soil biodiversity as it should be given. So that's why it's very important, and such occasion where we are meeting, and today mostly we have concentrated upon another very important input for the agriculture, that is seeds. But actually I get a chance to draw your attention because all of you are very much concerned with agriculture and knowledgeable about it. So there are several aspects and we have to integrate. That's why we have got programs for afforestation, program for wetland rejuvenation, program for rejuvenation of the forest, catchment area forest, biodiversity, aquatic life, and agriculture. And agriculture primarily we are promoting organic farming, natural farming, and how we can reduce consumption of water, wastage of water by improving water use efficiency, micro irrigation, and so many other kind of cropping practice, right kind of crop. So I think these are several things. they will be useful for agriculture sector. They will also be useful for the sustenance of the river. So that becomes very important. Before I end, I will just draw your attention to the concept of Earth Ganga, which is also bringing us very close to agriculture sector. This was the term given by Honorable Prime Minister in the National Ganga Council meeting, in which he says that agricultural development, overall economic development should actually be in hand with the ecological improvement and conservation of river, water and environment. And then several models we are working with agriculture ministry and all that very, very closely to improve these areas, and there will be much more interactive sessions with agriculture and allied sector, fisheries, animal husbandry, dairies, about how we can improve the income of people, income of the farmers, and also do it in a sustainable manner. So that's a very important thing. And just before we end, when we started on the river, there was a lot of discussion, and we actually talked about right of the river over its own water. And we brought environmental flow regime in Ganga. In case of Ganga, this is the first time it has happened, and we are working to determine it for some of the other rivers in the country. Also, similarly, the right of the river over its own land becomes very important. That's the floodplain. And similarly, the soil is also very important. It's like it gives life. And then without that, perhaps we will not be able to manage things. And it takes hundreds and thousands of years to get the topsoil. So actually, it's time to actually talk about the right of soil and sensitize everyone concerned. So once again, I won't take much time, and thank Agriculture Today, compliment everyone, congratulate all the winners for their good work in improving the seed sector in the country and helping farmers and agriculture sector, and thanking Agriculture Today for giving me this chance to share some of my thoughts. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Yes, Sapna, please continue.
Thank you very much indeed, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, that was our guest of honor, Sri Rajiv Ranjan Mishra ji, DG Namami Gange. And of course, sir, we all do appreciate all the efforts you are putting towards the River Ganga with organizing different events, something like a Ganga run also. And of course, integrating Ganga with agriculture, which is one of the very important facets of any river, especially the Ganga River, the sanctity it has for all the Indians. And thank you, sir, for also unveiling the December edition of Agriculture Today. And ladies and gentlemen, we have the privilege of having with us Sri Prasad Karumanchi, who's Chairman Prasad Seeds. And like earlier, Ms. Mamta Jain stated, it's a great honor, sir, to have you participating and supporting us, powering this India Seed Awards 2020. And of course, your support is really valuable. Ladies and gentlemen, Prasad Seeds is India's largest outsourced partner in the seed processing domain, delivering end-to-end turnkey solutions for global seed companies. And ladies and gentlemen, I have the proud privilege in requesting Sri Prasad Karumanchi, Chairman Prasad Seeds, to kindly say a few words. Over to you, sir.
Thank you. Agriculture Today and Mamataji, thank you very much for the opportunity today to be here with all of you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
And also distinguished and eminent people, all from the industry and also various departments of agriculture. Really, it's a great privilege for me to be here today. And I don't know whether I am deserved to be what Mamtaji asked me to do, some kind of this event, to support the event. That time, really, I don't know anything about Agriculture Today, not much. I know a magazine which is giving a lot of information. But in my due course of my services to the industry, I found a lot of good things what they are giving to the public people, and also particularly the mechanization and the new technologies in agriculture, updating to the farmers and the industry people. I was very happy with that. That's how I associated today with all of you. And now, just I need to give a little brief about me, my introduction. I'll take 2 minutes to. Basically, I'm in agriculture. So I'm a farmer. After my education, I'm from agriculture family. Started my career as an agriculturist. I think if NSE, MD Mr. Gaur is there, I think NSE, my first step was with National Seeds Corporation, registered as a grower, where I started my career in 1978. That's where I started producing seeds. And from that onwards, I am providing services to the seed industry, to all the local Indian seed companies, as well from 99 to the multinational companies. I think Shuklaji is there, Ganindra Shuklaji. I think that is the company with whom I started Monsanto, with a multinational company, my partnership 99. And thereafter, I am continually giving my services. As a farmer, the kind of level where we have come now, providing a lot of services, which the multinational companies and the large companies, Indian large companies, they are concentrating on the research and branding. The kind of intermediate work, whatever that is there, to some extent of production, drying, processing, packing, storage, and supplying seeds to the end point. This is what services I am providing to the seed industry. Now, I would like to congratulate all the awardees who are getting this award. With this, thank you very much.
Thank you very
Thank
much
you.
indeed.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much indeed. Once again, a wholehearted thanks to you for supporting us in organizing this award. And ladies and gentlemen, we have with us a guest of honor, Dr. Ashok Dalwai, CEO NRA and Chairman Task Force on Doubling Farmers' Income. I have the proud privilege in requesting you, sir, to kindly address the audience present with us on this virtual platform. Over to you, sir, Dr. Ashok Dalwai.
Thank you, Madam Sapna. My younger friend, Rajiv Ranjan. Then another friend, Suresh Malhotra. Dr. Ram Kaundinya. Dr. Prasad. Madam Mamta. Madam Malvika Dadliani. And all other distinguished participants. And more importantly, all the winners of different awards instituted by a very prestigious organization and a very reputed agriculture dedicated magazine, Agriculture Today. Good evening to all of you. Let me first thank Madam Mamta and Khan Saab for inviting me to be part of this wonderful ceremony. Recognizing all the contributors is a very positive way of encouraging, motivating people who do service to the society. They are the people who make it change. And change happens only because they were willing to take on the risks. And today we have different awardees from different background. And we must respect all their contributions. And I join today in recognizing them, in respecting them, and congratulating them. Very rightly has our guest of honor and my friend Raju Ranjan has stressed on the importance of seed and water, soil and water. Today, as we celebrate the World Soil Day, we remember the need for nurturing that critical input, soil and water, which two are part of the Panchabhutas that traditionally our system has recognized. And all these five are interrelated, they're organically linked. We need to treat them as integral component of the system. Only then can we have a biodiversity. Then can we have the system of supporting and evolving life further. Seed is a wonderful creature, a very tiny creature. It is considered as the wonder of evolution. It is considered as a mystery of nature. Just imagine a tiny seed. It encapsulates the entire inheritance, all the traits and characters that will germinate and grow up to give us multiple commodities of different dimensions, different colors, different nature, different nutrient content. And that's the wonder of evolution. Scientifically speaking, seed is an embryo. It's a living organism that is embedded in order to support the food tissues. And this is what makes it possible for seed to germinate into different life form. And in India, the growth of seed sector and growth of agriculture have been aligned. Ever since agriculture civilization began, it is the farmer who was the breeder. It was the farmer who was the conserver of seed, and he was a scientist. And traditionally, so much of ethical value has been attached to the seed that come what may, a farmer never cheats his friend when he offers seeds to him, because he knows that seed is just not another grain. It is not just a small quantum that he passes on to his friends. On that is dependent the entire annual income of the farmer friends to whom the seed is given. Hence, traditionally in our country, seed and dharma go together. And in the modern market-oriented economy, where agriculture has got more and more integrated with the market, the same principle of ethics needs to be practiced by the seed producers, the seed scientists. And that has to be the unflinching, unalterable truth on which the entire seed industry must base itself. As I was telling you, that seed and agriculture in India have grown together. To illustrate, in 1962-63, when India was suffering from food deficit, we just had 500 hectares under certified seed production. And we produced a maximum of 1.4 million quintals of quality seeds. Quality seeds include certified seeds, farmer-saved seeds, and all other kinds of seeds. Today, we have as high as 42 million quintals of quality seeds. And now it has further grown up to 4.5 million tons of quality seeds. And nearly 45% of the net cultivated area in India is under the certified seeds. But that only goes to show that so much more is to be done. So far as the seed industry is concerned, while it was government sector that took the initial lead, as it is natural in a country that had just got independence, the private sector too, supported by the government policies, has grown slowly, steadily, and now it is acquiring accelerated growth. Today, approximately the ratio of market share between the private sector and the public sector is around 50-60. In fact, it is believed that in certain segments like the hybrid seeds or high value, low volume crops like the vegetables, it is the private sector that has a market share of 70%, which is a good thing. It is not necessary for the government to be producing and taking over the responsibilities, just as government has receded itself in many other segments of the economy, industry sector, manufacturing, financial sector. Here too, with better policies that can provide support to the private sector, they can take over the responsibility. We therefore will certainly have a new seed policy that is coming up, which will give support to this thing. As all of us were talking about the ethics or the principle of dharma in seed, we must keep in mind that it is the state governments who play a greater role than the central government, as central government role is confined to evolving policies, and it has done that, starting with the Seed Act of 1966, Seed Amendment Act of 1972, the new seed policy of 1988, and the newer seed policy of 2002, and of course, all other regulatory framework relating to the genetically modified crops, the Environment Protection Act, and the seed policy, and the new seed policy, the new seed act that all of us are looking forward to. India has been making steady progress. And it is this new framework continuously changing to suit the new requirement that has enabled the state governments and the private sectors to play an important role. What today we need the state governments to do is to strengthen their quality testing facilities. They need to strengthen the enforcement measures and simultaneously adopt pan-India guidelines which enables the seed producers, the private sector, the government sector to treat India as one. Just as we have been talking about one nation, one market, and therefore we have had the recent one seed and one nation, so that the same norms apply to the seeds across the country. And as we make progress about the seed, we must remember that seeds per se contribute to an increase of 15 to 20% in terms of yield. And if it is combined with good environment, good production environment, the yield can go up to 45% in terms of change. So that is a huge potential that just one seed has got. But I agree with you that we need to do a lot more. I'm aware, for example, that the time that takes for the breeder to release his seed from the nucleus seed or the breeder seed to the foundation to the certified and finally reaching out to the farmers, it takes almost 10 years. And despite this thing, large number of seeds which are supposed to have been released by different agriculture research system, they have actually not reached the farmers for whatever reasons. Is it because they really did not stand the validity claimed in the field? We are aware that between the researchers' claim and the farmers' actual realization, there is a gap of almost 50% in terms of yield. We are also aware that many farmers continue to use the old seeds, which are 15 years old, 20 years old, whereas our norms are we're not supposed to use a seed which is more than 10 years old because there is a degeneration. Country like USA have got a threshold of 5 years. That means we should be continuously releasing new seeds. And as we do this thing, also keep in mind my request to all the awardees and other seed producers here that unfortunately, notwithstanding India's diversity of agroecology, which can sustain and support any kind of agricultural crop that is grown anywhere on this earth, we still have not produced seeds for a large number of crops. There are many millets, for example, which do not have good seeds. There are many fruits and vegetables which still do not have good seeds. So we have been looking at a few crop cafeteria. We have not been looking at the larger crop cafeteria that Indian climate can actually sustain. So we need to broad base our seed production to cover all kinds of crops, agronomic crops, fruits, vegetables, and other kinds, and also, of course, further going into the dairy sector, which is not here, not the domain today. So we need to treat all kinds of agroclimatic conditions, all kinds of agroecology conditions. So I won't take more time because there are many things to do. I'll end up by saying that I'm aware, and all of us agree, that we need to incentivize private investments, and that's the purpose of Atmanirbhar Bharat, to trigger investments from private sector, corporate sector, including the multinational companies. Today under FTI, there's 100% avenue for direct investment on the automatic route. So we need to incentivize, we need to provide credit support to the infrastructure, and then we need to ensure that we start producing designer seeds that will address both biotic and abiotic stresses. Today, thanks to climate change, there is change in temperature, change in rainfall pattern, change in carbon dioxide quantum, and the interplay of these climatic factors is actually bringing new aspects of biotic and abiotic stress. We need to have designer seeds that will actually address this kind of specific situations. So friends, I think if all of us play together, research, academics, industry, and of course, the government policy support, India certainly would be able to play an important role. We should be targeting to ensure that our entire cropping system is under certified seeds, not just on the farmers saved seeds, because certified seeds certainly have a better quality, better ability, better potential than just truthfully labeled seeds. And India should become the hub for the world, and we should be targeting a minimum of 10% share in the global seed market. So I think that's the purpose, and the award that has been instituted by Agriculture Today will certainly serve this particular purpose of motivating, inspiring, and creating an ambience of healthy competition so that everybody aspires to excel himself in service of his company, in service of the farmers, and service of our nation, where Honorable Prime Minister is targeting $5 trillion economy by 2024, and we hope that agriculture will be able to contribute at least $1 trillion. That means 20% of the nation's GDP must come from agriculture. That's the potential, and seed is the primer of this particular robust agriculture growth. Thank you very much, and I personally thank you for inviting me. Once again, congratulations to you.
Thank you very much indeed, sir, for that very informative address we had from you. And of course, seeds, the manufacturing of seeds is one very integral part of Atmanirbhar Bharat. And ladies and gentlemen, now we have the award presentation ceremony in presence of our guests of honors and also other dignitaries. We have about 14 categories of awards. We begin with the first category.
Sapna, I need just 1 minute before you begin the award ceremony.
Over to you, Mamta.
Yeah, just 1 minute. There is another very distinguished gentleman, a stalwart of the seed industry, who was supposed to be in this frame, in the center frame just now. He was supposed to be a very special guest of honor. He is Dr. N.K. Dadlani. He has been in a mentor role for all of us as far as seeds is concerned. So obviously, I mean, before initiating, I took his blessings, and he has been our guiding light for the entire seed awards. Incidentally, he is in the air just now, flying back to Delhi. So obviously, there was no possibility of him joining in today. But of course, a heartful gratitude from the entire team of ISA, the entire team of Agriculture Today, and obviously ICFA. He is heading seeds at ICFA. So thank you, Lani sir. We are missing you today very much. Thank you, sir. Over to you, Sapna.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again, thanks to Mr. Lani for all his support and encouragement in instituting these awards, the India Seed Awards 2020. And we begin the presentation, and of course, the gracious presence of our guests of honor and other dignitaries. And the first category of the award, the Best CSR Initiative, is presented to Kaveri Seeds Company Limited. And receiving the award, Sri C. Mithun Chand, the Executive Director. The Kaveri Seed Company Limited, directly and through Kaveri Bhaskar Rao Charitable Foundation, CSR Trust, is actively involved in upliftment of the rural poor. And Kaveri Seed adopted Gatla Narsingpur, a village in Telangana state, and conducted several programs here for rural welfare from 1st of January 2018. Kaveri Seeds has spent around rupees 1,436.75 lakhs for its various CSR activities. A huge congratulations to Kaveri Seeds Company Limited for the Best CSR Initiative Award. So would you like to say a few words, Mr. Chand, the Executive Director, Kaveri Seeds? He's not here?
I think he's not joined in.
Okay. So we'll move on to the next category.
Sapna, a very important point. All these awardees have been selected from only the nominations that have been received. So we had invited nominations almost a month back. So the awardees have been selected by the jury from the nominations received.
Yes, Mamta. Like earlier also, Mamta had announced at the beginning of this event that we wanted to host this awards in the end of October month, but we had so many nominations. In fact, the number of nominations were huge, and the jury members wanted some more time. So that's how it's been postponed, but to a very auspicious day of Soil Day today. And like Mamta already said, all the awardees have been selected from the nominations that we received. And the first category was the Best CSR Initiative, Kaveri Seeds, which goes to Kaveri Seeds Company Limited. And moving on to the next category of award, which is the Best Seed Certification Agency. And the award is presented to Telangana State Seed Certification Authority. And receiving the award today is Dr. K.K. Shavulu, Managing Director, TSSCA. The Telangana State Seed Certification Authority has emerged as a model seed certification authority in the country. For the first time in the country, TSSCA implemented complete online seed certification process and adopted the modern IT technologies. These initiatives ensure transparency, accountability, and speedy services to the seed industry, and also ensure quality in seed supply system. A huge round of applause to Telangana State Seed Certification Authority. And may I invite Dr. K.K. Shavulu, the Managing Director of TSSCA, who is here with us to kindly say a few words.
Thank you very much for the award, for the considerations, and we certainly from the Telangana state, we will continue to make a quality seed available to the farming community, and also that we'll also contribute to the seed export in terms of the OECD seed certification, and also contribute for acceleration of the seed trade at the international markets. And hope we are going to, maybe as Chairman Sir, the Dhalwai Sir said, I think so we will certainly reach maybe by 10% of the growth very soon in the couple of few years. So thank you very much, sir. And thank you once again for the award.
Thank you very much indeed, sir, and congratulations once again. And with that, we move to the next category of awards, the Best State in Seed Supply Planning. And the award goes to the state of Uttar Pradesh. And receiving the award today with us is Dr. A.P. Srivastava, Director Agriculture, Uttar Pradesh. The Department of Agriculture, Uttar Pradesh has prepared an advanced plan of seed supply in the state, known as the Seed Rolling Plan. This includes the target of annual seed replacement rate for every crop and seed requirement to distribute among farmers in the state. It also includes the plan for seed production at the department's agriculture farm and the farm of other agencies authorized by the state government. This plan is prepared for 5 years. On the basis of this plan, the department prepares every season seed distribution plan. The department has a strong network of seed producing agencies and seed distribution agencies. And ladies and gentlemen, let's put our hands together for the state of Uttar Pradesh for receiving the award of the Best State in Seed Supply Planning. And may I request Dr. A.P. Srivastava, if he's here with us, to kindly say a few words.
I can't see him, Sapna.
So moving on, the next category of
Sapna. The additional director seeds has joined in.
जी नमस्कार मैम, बहुत बहुत आपका आभार इस पुरस्कार के लिए। कृषि निदेशक महोदय किसी एक आवश्यक बैठक में गए हुए हैं, चीफ मिनिस्टर की यहाँ बैठक चल रही है और मैं उनके बिहाफ पे पुरस्कार ले रहा हूँ और इस पुरस्कार के लिए चुने जाने के लिए बहुत बहुत आभार।
थैंक यू सर।
बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद आपको।
Thank you very much indeed and congratulations. So ladies and gentlemen, the next category of awards is Seed Infrastructure Processing. And once again, this award is taken by Kaveri Seed Company. Kaveri Seeds continues to pursue excellence across the operational backed by strong R&D. And the company has 7 mega seed processing plants with 17 processing machines with capacity of more than 125 TPH at all strategic locations. It has more than 10 lakh SFT of warehouse, facility for storing 75,000 MT of seed, and 4 cold storage units with capacity of more than 15,000 MT. The company has 6 sophisticated maize crop drying units with capacity of more than 4,500 MT per cycle. And the company has introduced the environmentally safe and pollution-free cotton delinting plant with 2.2 TPH capacity. And a huge round of applause once again for Kaveri Seeds Company for winning the award of seed infrastructure processing. And the next award is for Best Seed Infrastructure Storage. And the award...
Sapna,
yes?
Sapna, yeah, somebody from Kaveri is joining. I guess he has some trouble in joining. Could you just give me 1 minute?
Sure. We can hold on for...
Yeah.
From Kaveri Seed Company.
He is Mr. Mr. Chand.
Mr. Mithun Chand. He is the Executive Director. Over to you, sir, to kindly say a few words.
Ankit? Puneet, Mr. Chand is joining in. I guess he's not getting access.
Okay, let us see.
Yeah. Mr. Mithun Chand, Mr. C. Mithun Chand. He's saying he's waiting there. He's already joined in, but he's not getting access to the room.
Okay. Who can you allow, Mr. Chand?
Sonam.
Yeah, he's in, I guess.
He's in?
Mr. Chand, can you hear us?
He's the Executive Director for Kaveri.
Mr. Chand, have you logged in? Can you hear us, please? So we will have his remarks later, Mamta.
Okay, sure. Please move on. As soon as he joins in, I'll let you know.
Yeah, let me know. So we'll have his remarks.
Okay.
With that, ladies and gentlemen, we move on to the next category, which is the Best Seed Infrastructure Storage. And the award is presented to Gubba Cold Storage. And receiving the award is Ms. Gubba Deepthi, Director Communications. With 17 cold storages across Hyderabad and Aurangabad, the total capacity of 11.8 million cubic feet, Gubba plated its place in prestigious Limca Book of Records in 2014 as the biggest cold storage in the country. Gubba is the first to develop a dehumidified cold storage in India and to introduce world-class wreckage system to preserve seeds. Gubba has developed a completely mechanized cold storage plant with the use of pallet trucks, EOT cranes, and jumbo bags that can store up to 2 tons of seed in a single bag. Gubba Germplasm Bag is one of the finest innovations of the Indian seed industry in the private sector. With that, ladies and gentlemen, let's put our hands together for Gubba Cold Storage to win this prestigious award of Best Seed Infrastructure Storage. And I would invite Ms. Deepthi Gubba to kindly say a few words. Over to you, ma'am.
Hi, Sapna. Thank you so much for a generous introduction. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, panelists, speakers, and jury. I am honored to receive this eminent award in the presence of such great personalities. Firstly, thank you, Agriculture Today, Mamta ji, and the respected jury for choosing Gubba Cold Storage, deserved for this respected category. Excellence in seed storage infrastructure. And Mamta ji, special acknowledgement to you for hosting such a wonderful event on a virtual platform, seamlessly managing so many things. Really acknowledge you. And on this occasion, I would like to share one incident from the journey of Gubba Cold Storage. This happened in the year 1996 when Gubba Cold Storage was still naive. At that time, Gubba was also preserving commodities like tamarind. And at that point of time, we received a seed lot to be preserved, and that we preserved in a cold storage or a cold room along with the tamarind. All went on well. After a few months, the owner of the seed came. He took his seed and went back. Then few weeks later, we receive a call from him saying that the seed has failed to germinate. The seed did not germinate. And this was a shock for us because we have properly preserved the temperature. We have absolutely maintained the temperature, no flaws at all. And how did this happen? That's the shock Gupa was in. And this incident gave Gupa a very clear understanding that seed preservation is not about cold temperature maintenance. It has much more to it. It is a science in all. It is a science in itself. This revelation is the new beginning to the excellence in seed preservation, right from creating first dehumidified cold storage in the country to the first world-class rack-supported cold storage, which is mechanically operated, to the first seed cold storage using Internet of Things, IoT. This is the beginning, creating benchmarks in systems and technology in seed preservation. Saying this, I thank everyone once again.
Thank you very much indeed, ma'am, and congratulations to you once again. And with that, we move on to the next category of awards, the Research, Innovation and Tech Development, which is presented to Incotech India. And the receiving the award is Dr. Manish Patel, MD, Incotech India. Ladies and gentlemen, Incotech is a leading seed enhancement global player with its headquarters at the Netherlands. Incotech India has been active since the year 1998 with clear focus on improving the quality of seeds with the help of unique 7 seed enhancement technologies like seed upgrading, seed priming, seed hygiene, seed coating, encrusting and pelleting applications of actives and additives and analytical services. The seed technologies of Incotech can give growers of India a greater tool to improve the profitability and yield of many different crops. It also enables farmers to use less plant protection products, less fertilizers, and less water in the most sustainable way. And let's put our hands together for Incotech India for receiving this award. And may I invite Dr. Manish Patel, Managing Director, Incotech India, to kindly say a few words.
Hello, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, let me thanks sincerely to Agriculture Today Group for recognizing our service to the Indian seed sector, and this is the first digital awards for Incotech in the country, and I must thank the organizer of these events and the jury to identify our contribution to the seed sector and contribution to the Indian farmers through seed treatments technologies. As Dr. Dalwai says, seed is a living embryo, and there is a lot around the embryo, and we are capable to handle the embryo in the best possible manner with all kind of safeties, and also at the same time adding a lot of value around the embryo, and that can meet at least a mission of doubling the farmers' income, where with the less inputs, farmers can gain more profit. And that's, not only coming from our technology, but also the supports which industry has given us. So here, I would like to really acknowledge the thanks to the, all the seed companies, those who are using our technologies and, helping us to grow bigger. And also, taking away our technologies from our processing units or our laboratories to the farmer's field. So basically, seed is a carrier, but I must thank all the stakeholders of supply chain who are helping us to making it possible. And I must thanks also Government of India for recognizing our unit in the area of seed technology. Yes, I am. So we will continue our journey to contribute to the sector and to add real value to the seeds. And I would once again say thanks to India Today groups and all the juries and all the seed companies who have directly and indirectly contributed to have these 2 decades of journey here in India. Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed, sir, and congratulations to you once again. The next category of awards is for Research, Innovation and Technology Development Award in the public sector, and this award is presented to Dr. Umar Rani Ranganathan. Dr. Umarani Ranganathan, Professor, Seed Science and Technology, Tamil Nadu Agriculture University, Coimbatore, has been a forerunner in developing the novel technologies in the field of seed science and technology, focusing on seed quality enhancement through priming, pelleting, coating, and other similar interventions. She has made invaluable contributions in the field of seed enhancement by developing new seed coating, polymer formulation, and the crop-specific coating protocol for improving the seed germination percentage, root system architecture, plant growth, and crop yield. And let's put our hands together for Dr. Umarani Ranganathan for receiving this award. Congratulations to you, ma'am, and may I request you to kindly say a few words.
Thank you very much, madam. I am very much delighted to receive this recognition from Agriculture Today Group. I wish to thank you profusely. It is indeed a great motivation for me to take up much more efforts to indulge in focused research in seed science and technology. At this juncture, I wish to thank Tamil Nadu Agricultural University, which has given me the platform to perform. I also thank all my seniors, colleagues, and students who have been contributing a lot to my research work, and they have walked along with me in ups and downs. I'm really thankful to them. And I hope in future, I work with the industry to focus on the specific problems that they face, and more emphasis can be given on seed vigor. With respect to seed quality, we are mainly dependent on the seed germination data. If we go and fingerprint some volatile or organic compounds emitted by the seeds during storage, then that would give a massive support for us to deal our inventory in the seed industry. And I hope we get support from the industry to indulge in much more focused area of research in seed science and technology. Thank you once again for giving me this opportunity to share my views. Thank you.
Thank you very much, ma'am, and congratulations to you once again. And also kudos to all the efforts and that you have put in, all the hard work that you have put in towards the new innovations, the new technology and research. And ladies and gentlemen, the next category.
Sapna, we have Mr. Chand from Kaveri.
So we have Mr. Chand from Kaveri Seeds Company Limited. And so we have already announced 2 awards for your company, the Best CSR Initiative in Agriculture and Excellence in Seed Infrastructure Processing. It would be a privilege to hear from you, a few words from you. Over to you, sir.
Madam, on behalf of Mr. Mithun Chand, I'm SP Rao participating. I'm President Supply Chain. Good evening to all the distinguished eminent personalities. Thank you for this award. Kaveri is truly honored to receive it. As you all know, aware that Kaveri Seed Company is one of the largest seed company in India, started by Sri G.V. Bhaskar Rao, CMD, almost 35 years back. This is the only company we have been organizing and producing and supplying huge seeds. Almost we are organizing more than 110,000 acres of seed production every year. And apart from that, we have got 7 mega seed processing plants across the strategic locations. And also we are into all the crops. Almost we are supplying into all the seed crop, cereal crops and everything. And we have built a huge infrastructure facility. Thank you very much for special thanks to jury and Agriculture Today entire team. Thanks a lot, madam. Thank you very much. Thanks to the entire jury. Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed, and congratulations to you once again. And ladies and gentlemen, the next category of awards is the Best Seed Testing Laboratory in the Private Sector for Vegetables. And the award is presented to Exxon Highwedge, and receiving the award on their behalf is Dr. Arvind Kapoor, CEO, Exxon Highwedge. Exxon Highwedge deals in almost all cultivated species of vegetable seed, comprises of 280 plus cultivars of 35 crops. The brand Highwedge is known for high genetic and physiological quality. Its labs are conferred with membership of ISTA since the year 2010. The company has also developed in-house stringent parameters and protocols for checking physical and physiological quality to provide best quality seeds to the growers. And let's put our hands together for X and High Veg for receiving this award. And may I request Dr. Arvind Kapoor to kindly say a few words.
Thank you very much, Agriculture Today, particularly Mamta and Mr. Khan, who really recognized us that we are doing good in the seed quality testing. Actually, our lab is now almost recognized by NABL also. And you know that in vegetable, particularly the vegetables are grown across seasons. So it's a big challenge that the seed you test in the lab should perform same in the field conditions. So that challenge we always face, and we try to cope up with that challenge and try different protocols to simulate the field conditions in our laboratories so that we can provide better seed to the growers. Thank you very much once again for recognizing us, and thank you for the award.
Thank you very much indeed, and congratulations to you, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, the next category of award is the Best Seed Testing Lab Private for Field Crops, and the award is presented to Newsy Vedu Seeds. Newsy Vedu Seeds Limited has been ensuring consistent delivery of quality seeds every season for more than 4 decades to millions of farmers across 22 states of the country. The Biotechnology Department of NSL acts as a strong enabler to the quality assurance system. It has been involved in various supporting measures, including molecular market-based analysis of genetic purity, gene purity assessment for BT cotton seeds, and development and standardization of markets for hybridity testing, varietal testing, and genetic purity testing. And receiving the award on the Newsy Vedu Seeds behalf, we have Dr. Raghuvendra Singh, Head Quality. Congratulations to Newsy Vedu Seeds. Let's put our hands together for them. I'm inviting Dr. Raghuvendra Singh to kindly say a few words.
I can't see him. Dr. Rao is there, if Dr. Rao can receive it on his behalf.
Dr. Rao, if you could kindly say a few words.
Yeah, thank you very much. Actually, we wanted Dr. Raghu to take this award because he heads the quality department and he can speak more about the quality protocols and the tests that are being done there in the laboratory. I thank Dr. Khan, MJ Khan and Mamta and other organizers for selecting our laboratory for the award in the category of field crops. So I think we are trying to pick up the best systems from the ISTA as well as from whatever other sources to always have the correct assessment of the seed quality and vigor. And this kind of a recognition will enable us, will make us more enthusiastic to do even better in the future. Thanks once again for selecting Newsy Vedu Seeds.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much indeed, sir, and congratulations to you once again. And the next category of award is the Best Seed Testing Laboratory in the Public Sector, and the award is presented to Maharashtra State Seeds Corporation Limited. Akola is one of the leading state seed corporations in India, popularly known as Mahabeej. It is serving farmers since the last 4 decades with glorious achievements like 16 National Productivity Awards and a Scotch Award. Mahabeej provides the best quality seeds to farmers at reasonable rates and in time. On an average, 52,000 seed samples are tested annually at Akola for various parameters. This is only possible because state-of-art infrastructure, testing as per Indian minimum seed certification standards, and following standard practices and protocols, including ISTA. So let's put our hands together for Maharashtra State Seeds Corporation Limited for receiving this award. And may I invite Mr. Anil Bhandari, Managing Director, to kindly say a few words on their behalf.
Sapna, I can't see Mr. Bhandari online.
Okay, if he joins us here, we'll
I'll let
have,
you know. I'll let you know as soon as he joins in.
and now we have the very prestigious Lifetime Achievement Award in the public sector, which is presented to Dr. S.K. Rao, Vice Chancellor, RVSKU Gwalior. Dr. S.K. Rao is a renowned educationist and researcher. He has wide experience in agriculture education and research management with expertise in crop improvement, seed systems management, commercial research, farm management, and agribusiness incubation. Dr. Rao is a versatile professional with proven history of development of 20 varieties of various crops. He has developed seed production and supply systems in tribal areas to improve the availability of quality seeds and enhance the livelihood of tribal farmers. Dr. Rao has also developed infrastructure for maintaining breeding, diversified nucleus and breeder production systems. So let's put our hands together for Dr. S.K. Rao for the Lifetime Achievement Award. Dr. Rao, can we have the privilege of having few words from you? Over to you, sir.
Good afternoon to everyone. Thank you very much for Agriculture Today group for giving me an opportunity to be here today for listening this panel of experts in the business opportunities as well as the policy matters, and giving me an award by considering my contributions over the lifetime. Basically, I have done this entire work at Jawaharlal Nehru Agricultural University, Jabalpur, entire better seed production systems, varietal development. Now I am here for the last 3 years in the Rajmata Vijayaraj India Agricultural University, Gwalior, as a Vice Chancellor. I heard these panel discussions and as well as this, including this business opportunity session also panelists. And I want to say a few words regarding this scope of this seed sector in India. The major requirement for the growth of the seed sector has to come from the increasing the R&D investments in public and private sector. Public sector investments in R&D in seed sector in crop improvement programs are in the declining trend. There is a need for more investments, otherwise it is very difficult to sustain the crop improvement programs and development of the new products. Similarly, we have no procedures, we have no policies, we have no methodology for incentivizing the R&D investments in the private sector by as a credit loan facility, whatever it is. The private sector also needs to be incentivized. The government of India is incentivizing all the industries. I don't know what they are doing with the seed industry. That is one point. Another thing is everybody is talking about the promotion of exports. Yeah, exports of the seeds. Only exports of the seeds brings money to the country. And this should be done in a fast track mode by maintaining the quality standards and creating the infrastructural facilities and having the single window clearance systems for the export purposes. It may be to the export mission on seeds or whatever it is. Government of India has to do this business. And Dr. Ashok Dalwai has rightly said, there are many seed systems which are not developed till today, especially spices, medicinal and aromatic plants. This is a vast country with diversity of the crops, including many vegetables. Our country is having 160 vegetables. How many vegetable seeds we are marketing in the country? There is a lot of scope and potential for the growth in this sector also. And my vision is some of the Indian companies should turn as a multinational companies by starting their operations in the abroad in different countries wherever our varieties and hybrids are suitable for cultivation. With these few words, I thank the Agriculture Today for giving me this award. Thank you very much for this group.
Thank you very much, sir, and congratulations to once again. So, ladies and gentlemen, after that award in the public sector for the Lifetime Achievement, we now announce the Lifetime Achievement Award in the private sector, which is presented to Dr. M. Ramasamy from Rasi Seeds. Dr. Ramasamy is the chairman of the largest bioagri company, Rasi Seeds Private Limited. Dr. Ramasamy's passion for science and research tempted him to attract Dr. R. Krishnamurthy, a renowned and reputed cotton breeder, to his fold. This laid the strong foundation for R&D during 1988. Having excelled in the research and development in cotton seeds, it went on to expand into multi-crop, multi-location, quality research that has proven to be beneficial for the farming community. Dr. Ramasamy has established world-class R&D facility to deliver the high-yielding hybrids like RCH2 that change the productivity benchmark in the country. And let's put our hands together for Dr. Ramasamy for receiving the Lifetime Achievement Award. Dr. Ramasamy, can we have a few words from you?
Thank you. I am delighted to receive this honor today from the Agriculture Today group for the lifetime achievement. I am very much thankful to see Ashok Dalwai and chief guest and guest of honor, Dr. Rajveer Ranjan. I am thankful for the organizers and participants of this function. My sincere thanks to all the jury members of the selection committee who selected me for this prestigious award. The award presented to me adding immense pleasure and recognizing my contribution to the Indian seed industry, which has given me an opportunity to serve the Indian farmers for the last 5 decades. I dedicate this award for the fellow farmers of this country. I hope these kinds of awards will motivate the young generation, and they should be ready to adopt innovative technology in agriculture for the prosperity of the farmers of our nation. Thanking you for giving me the award. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much indeed, sir, and congratulations to you once again. And ladies and gentlemen, the next category is the Farmer's Choice Award. And before I announce the award, I have to say that Agriculture Today Group had taken the liberty to felicitate the brand that was most popular amongst the farmers of India through an online poll. All India farmers connected on social media and were invited to participate in a poll which lasted for 35 days. And we feel honored and pleased in sharing that brand Biocrop Science has emerged as the clear winner with 22% votes for the Farmer's Choice Awards. Let's put our hands together for them. The Bayer has been operating in India for more than 125 years in the fields of agriculture and healthcare. Bayer is committed to building a resilient agriculture system that helps Indian smallholders farmers generate sustainable farm incomes, promote rural entrepreneurship, and improve rural livelihoods. Farmers in India trust the Bayer brand because of its innovative products, technologies, and seed-to-harvest solutions. With its business models such as better life farming and food chain partnerships, Bayer is contributing towards production and high quality of food, feed, and fiber in line with the company's global vision of health for all, hunger for none. And on that note, may I invite Mr. Simon Thorsten Wibisch, COO of Biocrop Science, to kindly say a few words. Over to you, Simon.
Yeah, dear Mamta, dear Sapna Agriculture Today, what can I say? Thank you very much. Dr. Mishra, Mr. Prasad, Dr. Dalwai, all seed partners, and all participants to this award ceremony, Namaskar. It is an unspeakable honor for me to represent all Bayerites to receive an award given to us by the choice of the Indian farmers. All I can say here is I am extremely humbled, unbelievably proud, and thank you so much in the name of Bayer. Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed, sir, and congratulations to Bayer once again for receiving this, in fact, well-received award of this very prestigious award. And the next category of award is the Policy Leadership Award, which is presented to Dr. Kunusoth Keshavalu, Director TSSCA. Dr. Keshavalu Kunusoth is the Managing Director, Telangana State Seed Organizations and Vice President, ISTA, Switzerland. Has vast experience in the research administration and the seed sector. Currently, he is leading the Telangana State Seed Organizations and providing strategic and scientific vision. Dr. Keshavulu has introduced several policy reforms in the seed sector at the state and national level. This has resulted in exemplary growth in the areas of seed production, quality control, marketing, and cooperation with international organizations. Under the leadership of Dr. Keshavulu, the Telangana State Seed Organizations have emerged as a model in the country and have supplied quality seeds to more than 10 states in India. And let's put our hands together for Dr. Keshavulu for winning this leadership award. And over to you, sir, for a few words from you.
So I'm glad to receive the award once again. So thank you so much for the honor. So I worked almost the 25 years and then 10 years to go more, because then after 10 years my the retirement time. So thank you so much for the recognition by way of this award. So I would certainly contribute to the seed industry growth and also for promotion of the seed science and research in the country in general in India, and also in particularly in Telangana. So I am associated with the International Seed Testing Association since long time, since 2005. And then I have become the vice president of ISTA. And then so I'll be taking over the presidentship in the year 2025 in the New Zealand. And then I'll be there in the, I'll be there as a president of ISTA until 2025. So certainly, so wherever it is possible and then wherever it is required, and then I will certainly work for the Indian seed industry growth and also for the exporting the seed. So besides this, the ISTA is the main, as even the Dalwai sir also said, the seed testing labs and then about the seed quality. Certainly, sir, the seed sampling and then testing is the key for in the supply chain. So I think we need to strengthen this area in our country, and then so probably I will contribute in the framing these guidelines for the auditing and then for coordinating with the coordination of the other labs in the country. So thank you so much for the Agriculture Today group, especially Mamta ji and also the Khan Sahab and then Prasad Sahab. Thank you so much, sir. And then our chief guest, today's chief guest, Asoi Dalwai sir as well. So finally, I would like to thank the parent university, the Professor Jayashankar Telangana University, then the government of Telangana and then government of India for supporting me for the work and also the supporting at the international level. So thank you once again, everyone. Thanks a lot.
Thank you once again, sir, and congratulations to you. And ladies and gentlemen, after the Policy Leadership Award, we now proudly announce the Industry Leadership Award, which is presented to Dr. Mandawa Prabhakar Rao, who is the President, National Seed Association of India and Chairman and Managing Director, Newsy Vedu Seeds Limited. Let's put our hands together for him. Dr. Rao has contributed substantially towards the growth of the seed sector of India. Under the leadership, Newsy Vedu Seeds developed cotton hybrids, Bunny and Malika, and many leading hybrids in rice, corn, and vegetables, which are highly popular amongst the farmers. About half the cotton produced in India will have genetics of lines developed by him. Dr. Rao has played a pivotal role in introducing good agricultural practices among farmers, and under his leadership, Newsy Vedu Seeds promoted direct sowing in rice as part of its CSR activity, benefiting farmers in reducing water requirement and increasing profitability in the Krishna River Delta region. And I am proud and privileged to request Dr. Rao to kindly say a few words.
I thank the jury comprising of very eminent people, agriculture policy makers like Mr. Ashok Dalwai, Dr. Prabhu, Mr. Rajiv Ranjan Mishra, and also the Agriculture Today team headed by Mr. M.J. Khan and Mamta. It's indeed a great honor to receive the award towards contributing for policy of the industry. As you all know, the policy played a big role in taking the industry to the level where it is now. I firmly believe that the Indian seed industry is very mature and can contribute towards the growth that has been spoken about by Mr. Ashok Dalwai, who knows the immense potential that this sector commands, and the sector can contribute towards the welfare of the farmers and agriculture. Just to mention a few things that we are working as an industry in the through the platform of National Trade Association, and also in collaboration with the other associations at the state and national level, is to bring in a new mission mode development policy for seed sector to enable or bring out the potential that exists in enhancing the crop productivity. The most important component of this mission is on R&D, because we believe that the R&D spend has to go up in industry, and also the public-private partnership aspects that need to be also seriously taken up. So we have submitted the scheme to the Government of India, and hope that there will be a lot of interactions on this, and this mission will get announced very soon to enhance the ability of the industry to contribute towards growth of the agriculture. My experience over the last about 40 years spreads across multiple crops, though I was focused on cotton in the beginning. Today we work on almost all the important cereals, millets, and a few fiber and oilseed crops. And having worked all across the country with my understanding of the ground level understanding of the issues faced by the seedmen of the country, this award further encourages me to take up the issues related to the industry for better policy, and thereby create an enabling environment for the industry to grow. Thank you very much once again to all of you.
Thank you very much indeed, sir, and congratulations to you once again. And ladies and gentlemen, with that, we once again congratulate all our distinguished awardees for winning the prestigious award for the first ever India Seeds Award being hosted by Agriculture Today Group. Let's once again have a round of applause for all of them. Ladies and gentlemen, this event will not be complete without having a few words by none other than Dr. M.J. Khan, Chairman, Indian Chamber of Food and Agriculture. We all admire his contributions and dedications towards the agriculture sector. So over to you, Dr. M.J. Khan, for a few words from you.
Thank you, Sapna. Let me start by thanking Mamta Jain, who single-handedly, in fact, handled the entire event. But Professor K.B. Prabhu truly deserves the thanks by all of us for chairing the jury. So thank you, Professor Prabhu. I'm sorry I could join for a very short time because off and on today, very crucial day. So twice I had to rush to Vigyan Bhavan. But nevertheless, the last part, which is very important, I could join. And I agree with most of the views that I heard that in the seed industry, what I recall, where there used to be just a public system led by National Seed Corporation and the state seed corporations, and two large private sector companies in field crops, myco, and in vegetables, if I recall, Indo-American. But today it's a very robust industry has come up, meeting the requirements of the Indian farmers for quality and low-cost seeds. Now that focus has to slightly shift and broaden from serving the Indian farmers to serving the global farmers, where the farmers in Africa, farmers in some of the Asian countries are looking up to the expertise and the quality seed that India produces. And given the fact that in the second inning, the Prime Minister has given a call of doubling the exports, and therefore a little more global approach is required. And I'm sure that as India develops this COVID vaccines, India will again, kind of global leadership position, which, the contributing to the health sector. So agriculture is one sector where India has tremendous strength. In fact, DGFO, Professor Ku is a close friend who otherwise is very buoyant about China's contribution. But in seed sector, he says you have clear advantage. So that advantage we need to leverage upon. And fortunately, the new chairman of the EPIDA, he is also first time ever the EPIDA is formed, is an agriculture graduate from TNU, then MSc from Ludhiana and from PhD IRI. NABARD, again, if you have as an institution, all the three top chairmen, both the deputy MDs, first time the agriculture graduates. So I think now that orientation has to shift from slightly broaden, in fact, to look at the global opportunities. And I recall Ram Kondinya is here. Thank you, Mr. Kondinya, for being with us on this event. You have been talking about exploring the global market opportunities, and what we understand today, this must be anywhere between 100 to 125 million dollars of exports to an opportunity that is surely close to $1 billion. So with the next 5 to 7 years time, we are able to reach what the potential promise is through institutionalized support and little more focused efforts. Yesterday, I had a discussion with the EPIDA chairman, being on the board of this body, that whether we can create India Seed Trade Board in order to extend all the support that the Indian seed industry may need, reaching out to the global, tapping the global market opportunities, either under South-South cooperation, to which the India is committed with 600 crores of funds remain unutilized for a long time, or under South-South trilateral cooperation with the FAO is promoting. So the institutionalized mechanisms that are available to looking at the global market opportunities, specifically to talk about the exports of quality seed that India produces, we can look at that. And I think soon there will be an announcement on the India Seed Trade Board. So thank you very much, Professor Prabhu, for chairing the jury. I can see some of the very eminent persons. Dr. Keshavlu is here, Ram Kondinya, Dr. Ashok Dalwai Saab. Thank you very much, Dalwai Saab, for being with us. Prabhakar Rao Saab, no seed event could be complete without your presence. Manish Patel, thank you. Manish Simon is here from Bayer. Professor Rao, and I think some of the jury members, Dr. Malvika Datlani, thank you very much. Malhotra Saab, yesterday we were together on the TV channel debating the farm bills. So thank you for being with us. Ramaswamy Saab, congratulations. Rajiv Mishra ji, all that, eminent person. Dr. Trivedi was also a member of the jury. I could see the name. Dr. Kapoor, congratulations for receiving the award, and Professor Rao, I think if I forget to name anyone, everyone is well known to me, and I am known to probably everyone. So thank you very much for being part of this great program. Thank you, Mamta, for leading from the front, and Sapna, always no event complete without you. So thanks, Dr. Kapoor and others, if I could see and recall by name. Thank you very much. Thanks. Over to you, Sapna.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I'm sorry, Mamta, I have to go.
No problem, sir.
Thank you very much indeed, sir. And ladies and gentlemen, after that quick remark from Dr. MJ Khan, of course, he's a busy man these days, I would like to invite Ms. Rajni Chopra, Executive Editor, Agriculture Today Group, to kindly propose the vote of thanks.
Is she there?
Rajni ma'am, are you there? In that case, I would request Ms. Mamta Jain to do the honors.
Thank you, Sapna. Thank you all distinguished participants and our participants online who we cannot see here for joining us today this afternoon. It has been a very enriching, a very lively, and thankfully very smooth flowing event. And I'm sure we have lots of food for thought to work upon. And as Kondinya sir mentioned, we would be, of course, preparing a report on this so that we can share it with the seed industry and share it with the decision makers, policy makers, so that they can obviously work on interventions. So thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed. And ladies and gentlemen, before signing off, I once again take this opportunity to thank all our eminent jury members, congratulate all our distinguished awardees, thank all our eminent panel speakers, our moderators, and of course, all our partners and sponsors in supporting wholeheartedly for organizing this event, although on the virtual platform, was equally gratifying and satisfying. And like we all said, once again, kudos to our Agriculture Today group for organizing their first ever Seed Awards on this virtual platform. Hoping and looking forward to seeing all of you next year, hopefully for a live event. Otherwise, we'll meet virtually here on this platform. Thank you once again and congratulations. Signing off now. Have a wonderful day ahead. Good evening and namaskar.
Namaskar. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you everyone for joining in.
Thank you.
Thank you very
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you, Rajiv sir. Thank you, Dalwai sir.
Thank you.
My
प्रसाद
pleasure.
सर बहुत थैंक यू, बहुत धन्यवाद.
धन्यवाद. All the best.
Thank you, sir.